Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Lord of the People. I awaken a talent every week. Chapter 21. Su Ming went to bed after taking a shower. He just fell asleep, but some people just woke up. When Han Shizhuang woke up, he found himself lying in the haystack and shaking a little. His lips were chapped, thirsty, and he licked his tongue out of habit, which hurt a little. Zhang Mu looked around and found that he was in a truck pulled by 2 camels, and there were several trucks beside him. Master, this man is awake. Suddenly a child's cry sounded. Han Shizhuang sat up and looked around, and found a dark boy looking at him. The vehicle also stopped. More than a dozen people with dark skin came from the front, 1 old man, and the rest were strong men. The old man handed over a water bag. Little brother, first, drink some water. Han Shizhuang's eyes lit up when he saw the water bag, and before the old man could finish speaking, he grabbed the water bag. Then, regardless of whether it was poisonous or not, he raised his head and drank it, ton ton ton. The brows of a few strong men next to him frowned, and there seemed to be anger between their brows. The old man raised his hand, and then turned back to indicate that it was okay. However, the look of hope on his face also faded a lot. The old man was a trader, well informed, and knew that some people from other places had extraordinary abilities and could become a party lord. When he saw Han Shizhuang, he felt that this person came from other places, so he had the intention of taking refuge, influenced by the adventure skills. But now, seeing this man so rude and so imperturbable, I can't help but feel a little disappointed. However, he still did not give up directly. He planned to take a look at the ability of this person first. If he had strong ability and great potential, he would be a master. Han Shizhuang drank water to his fullness, and now he feels comfortable. Looking at the people in front of me, I knew that they were the natives of Donglan continent, so I said rudely. Because in his opinion, these people will eventually be conquered by a lord like him. Hey, old man, do you know that there are mountains, water and wood in this ghost place? Hey, you. Seeing Han Shizhuang's rude remarks, he dared to directly call the old man, old man. A brawny man behind the old man suddenly shouted loudly, and then stepped forward to teach Han Shizhuang a lesson. But the old man stopped him again. There was a kind smile on the old man's face. Don't worry, little brother, we are going to the deserted oasis, and that place is not far away, we will be there in 10 minutes. Han Shizhuang was actually startled by the strong man behind the old man. However, when he saw the old man in front of him stopping him, he nodded with satisfaction, as if to say, you are quite knowledgeable about current affairs, and I am very satisfied. Then go, and give you a chance to rely on me at that time, it can be regarded as repaying your kindness for saving me. Han Shizhuang said casually. In fact, there is another thought in my heart, repayment. The redemption that I exchanged for my skills, what kind of grace do I repay? This is still my own ability, thanks to myself. But he did have the intention of wanting to bring these people under his command, so he blended it into his words. The old man smiled at Han Shizhuang, but neither agreed nor refused directly. Then greet the others to continue on their way. After a while, an oasis really appeared in front of everyone, cutting off the endless desert for a while. Han Shizhuang was overjoyed when he saw this, and hurriedly urged the old man and others to hurry up. At this time, he seemed to see the hope of the rise of his own territory again. At the same time, the figure of Su Ming appeared in my mind. I thought to myself, that waist is just the seal of an F-rank lord. It must have just begun to develop the power. Although I wasted some time, it was easy to surpass him. Thinking about it, a smile appeared on Han Shizhuang's face. It may be that he was overwhelmed with pride, and this smile pulled the crack on his lips, and it hurt for a while. Covering his mouth, he thumped the haystacks wildly. After the group went to the oasis, Han Shizhuang couldn't wait to run down. He had enough rest just now, and now he has some strength. He turned his head and glanced at the old man and others proudly, and shouted, let you natives see my ability. Saying that, click on the panel, and then choose to build a faction. Please name the force, Shizhuang Empire. Han Shizhuang unceremoniously named it with his own name. Ding! The power has been established. As the prompt sounded, 5 buildings appeared in front of Han Shizhuang and the others, surrounded by simple wooden fences. The building composition is similar, and they are all standard for novice forces. Han Shizhuang looked back at the old man and the others. Except for the old man, everyone else had a shocked expression. The smug look on his face thickened. However, the old man's expression gradually became very dull. Han Shizhuang curiously gave the old man a check. I don't know if I don't see it, I was startled when I saw it. Name, Feng Damu. Age, 68. Status, Desert Trader. Level, 10. Qualification, A. Blood volume, Strength, Endurance, Magical value. Skill, Wisdom I. Other skills, 10, 10th grade. The row of question marks made Han Shizhuang stunned. He has also been trained in the real world, and naturally he has seen the strategy. Knowing that in the early stage of development, the highest level that can enter the range of new power lords is level 10. That is to say, in the area where Han Shizhuang established his territory, no creatures above level 10 can break in. As long as Han Shizhuang recruits Feng Damu, it is equivalent to recruiting an invincible existence. Thinking of this, Han Shizhuang's mind couldn't help but become active. He's not stupid either. I heard that the indigenous people value strength. He doesn't have any special skills to show off, so he plans to show off his identity. That is to pretend, first bluff Feng Damu and others, and then recruit into the forces. But because he paid too much attention to the level, he forgot about Feng Damu's skills. Han Shizhuang said with an arrogant expression, "How about my way of reaching the sky? You can create things with a wave of your hand. Do you feel that it is amazing?" Cough. Now, I am honored to tell you that I am a lord from other worlds and will become the king of this world. Now my territory is recruiting people, and you all have the opportunity to join. This opportunity can only be this time. If you miss it, it will be gone. First come first served. Han Shizhuang is not so idiot that he only recruits Damu, and he is also interested in others. He also glanced at the others just now, and found that none of these strong men had a grade less than 5, and even that child had a 3rd level. My heart is already blooming. As long as these people are recruited, he is confident even if he hits the leaderboard. Feng Damu was still observing the situation of the territory established by Han Shizhuang and did not respond to Han Shizhuang. The others were looking at Feng Damu, as if waiting for his words. Obviously Feng Damu is the backbone of this group of people. After a few minutes, Feng Damu sighed. When Han Shizhuang saw this, his heart suddenly jumped, and he had a bad premonition. Sure enough, Feng Damu rejected Han Shizhuang's recruitment. Not because of Han Shizhuang's tone, nor because of his character, but because he found that the potential of this territory was insufficient. This is a judgment based on experience alone. Thank you, little brother, for your kindness, but we are businessmen and we're used to it, so we shouldn't bother. Saying that, without waiting for Han Shizhuang to persuade him, he raised his hand and greeted the others. He added to Han Shizhuang, "Little brother, you don't have to say anything, it was a chance encounter, and saving you is just an effort, let's say goodbye." Han Shizhuang was stunned for a while. Just now, he really wanted to let Feng Damu and others stay with him for repaying his kindness, but Feng Damu saw through it at a glance. At this time, he couldn't think of any other excuse to keep him, but Han Shizhuang was not willing to let these people leave. So struggling to run to the camel, open his hands to try harder. But before the words could be said, Han Shizhuang suddenly met Feng Damu's eyes, and his whole body trembled. Those eyes were no longer the kind look they had just now, and they were extremely cold. Han Shizhuang stepped aside a little foolishly, not daring to stop him. Seeing this, Feng Damu sighed in a strange way, then shook his head and directly greeted the caravan on the road. They did not stop at the oasis, but chose another direction to enter the desert again, leaving sleigh-like ruts. Han Shizhuang just watched this great opportunity slip past him. But even if he was unwilling, he really didn't have the courage to stop these people. HMPH. A group of turtles, they don't know how to praise. You missed this, and you will regret it later. From beginning to end, Han Shizhuang did not have the slightest idea of repaying his gratitude. When he returned to the territory, he saw the situation on the leaderboard, but he was only envious. He knew that it was the existence he looked up to. Came to the residence to start recruiting 10 ordinary people. Forge, 3 tailors, 1 blacksmith, 1 bricklayer. All 3 are tailors. Why are there so many tailors? To eat. Finally, the soldiers were recruited, 6 ordinary soldiers and 4 inferior soldiers. The inferior grades are ordinary soldiers with physical disabilities, such as lameness, hunchback, blindness in one eye and the like. Moreover, the loyalty of these people is only 50, which is close to the edge of defecting. Han Shizhuang was stunned. Boom! With a muffled sound, a thunderbolt fell from the clear sky, and Han Shizhuang's main city mansion was smashed into a corner. Han Shizhuang suddenly fell silent and did not dare to speak. After Feng Damu and others left, they went all the way east. The little boy in the caravan ran to Feng Damu and asked, "Master, didn't you say that man might be our chance? Why did we just leave? It is indeed an opportunity for them to break away from the identity of desert traders and join forces." Therefore, even if other people are not happy with Han Shizhuang, they are also doubtful about Feng Damu's choice. But they still followed without hesitation. Feng Damu smiled and replied, "This force is not suitable, its potential is too small, and its geographical position is not dominant, it is destined to not develop. Since we have seen people from other places here, there must be more than one, and we can go to other places to see." The little boy nodded in understanding, and followed Feng Damu's words and asked, "Where are we going now?" "Go to Mochizuki Valley. We used to go there often, and the location there is very good and close. I have a hunch that there will be new forces there." "Mochizuki Valley. Then we have to go for a long time." The little boy pouted, looking a little reluctant. Snapped. A strong man came up behind and slapped the little boy, and then said respectfully to Feng Damu, "Mu Lao, you can go wherever you say, we will follow." Others quickly joined in. Feng Damu touched his beard and nodded with a smile. At the same time, he also comforted the little boy and said, "It's only a 7-day journey. If you hurry up, it will only take 5 days, and you'll be over." The little boy covered his head and nodded, and glanced at the others, obviously not wanting to be beaten again. This scene made the other strong men laugh. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the red sun sets on time, announcing the arrival of night time. John Thompson was ecstatic at the moment. "Celebrate, my undead." At night, John Thompson's resource production bonus increased to 180%, doubled the resources obtained, and doubled the explosion rate. At the same time, the stamina of the undead soldier is doubled. Tonight, John Thompson intends to retake the number 1 throne. And the leaderboard information also changed slightly after one afternoon. First, the country of the dragon, Donglan continent, with a power value of 4,500. Second, the Chongyi Empire, West America, with a power value of 4,100. Third, the unknown force, Donglan continent, the force value is 4,000. Fourth, Ula Empire, North Luo continent, power value 3,900. Su Ming's forces have gone after John Thompson. However, John Thompson was in no hurry, and he always had only the first in his eyes. And he has decided to use his next curse on Su Ming's power. He also carefully studied that the strength of the curse effect is related to the strength of the sacrificed undead. If this happens to the next week, his undead strength will definitely be greatly improved, and the curse effect will be stronger. Now his choice is to choose one of the 2 Donglan continent forces to target. After all, 2 of the top 3 are from the Donglan continent, which is terrifying. In order to win, one has to scrap one. He had cursed this kingdom of dragons before, but it seemed to have little effect. So he changed the target without hesitation. And when he thought that this unknown force would be cursed at that time, and the desperate expression of the Power Lord, John Thompson couldn't help feeling excited. "Dragon Kingdom, I don't believe you can sleep without sleep. Tonight I will let you know the true strength of the undead." John Thompson sent out undead soldiers and undead beasts. Half an hour later, he received a beep. "Ding, your undead soldier killed the Blood Moon Wolf, successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, the attribute is improved." "Ding, your undead soldier killed the Ghost Leopard, successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, the attribute is improved." "Okay, very good. Keep it like this, get more resources, then upgrade the level of civilians, develop more land, and then get more resources, endless loop, ha ha ha. The first must be mine, no one don't think about it. Land of the Dragon, hee hee, are you also worthy of the first place? I'm going to set the first place." This is God's will, and no one can take it away. John Thompson looked arrogant. In his eyes, God is supreme. But he forgot that some places are not under God's control. When Su Ming woke up, he was lying on the table board, looking like he was lazy, not knowing what to do. He seems to be very busy today, and he seems to have nothing to do. At this moment, he put one leg on Bai Ling's leg, and Bai Ling was gently massaging him. Turning his head to look at Bai Ling, he suddenly found that Bai Ling is actually quite beautiful. The skin is fair, the facial features are as delicate as a porcelain doll, and the proportions of the body are also good. Hey, Bai Ling. Su Ming couldn't help being curious about something, so he opened his mouth and shouted. Ah, what's the matter with the Lord? Bai Ling raised his head with a puzzled look on his face. Where do you and Lao Huang come from, do you know for yourselves? From where? Bai Ling was stunned for a moment, thought about it, and then said, I don't know, I only know that I came here to serve the adults. I seem to have lived somewhere before, but the influence is blurred. Life elsewhere. Su Ming checked Bai Ling's profile again, but there was still no introduction about her life experience. This made him even more strange. Both Bai Ling and Lao Huang have the same qualifications as the Lord's seal. Could their origins be related to the Red Planet? Thinking of this, Su Ming suddenly felt very possible. And there can be other people on the planet. Could these summoned ordinary people and soldiers also come from? Anyway, when he has nothing to do, Su Ming is also very happy. After thinking about it for a while, I felt boring because there was no evidence at all. Bai Ling, what about Lao Huang? Why haven't you seen him come back? Su Ming looked towards the door, which was completely empty. Butler Huang and the others are still building a habitat for wild beasts outside. Then they can't be busy at night, they've been working all day, aren't they tired? Tired. This time, Bai Ling turned his head and looked at Su Ming curiously. Lord, do you know how much stamina you need to consume for a busy day? Isn't it empty? A few hundred stamina is only enough for one day. How can a few hundred stamina be used up in one day? Even if he and the others move the elephants, it is impossible. Seeing Su Ming's innocent appearance, Bai Ling also wanted to laugh, but she was afraid of Su Ming's embarrassment, so she pursed her lips. If you want to laugh, laugh. This is because I, the lazy lord, didn't do my homework. Su Ming waved his hand with a look of indifference, and then asked, then how much do you say you need to consume in a day? If you just do ordinary work a day, it will consume about 50 points of stamina. If you do strength work, it will be more than 100, and 150. So even if Butler Huang and the others are kept busy for 2 days and 2 nights, they can persevere, and they are still doing mechanical work. Su Ming looked shocked. No way. Are they all superhumans? Bai Ling smiled and said, no, Lord, they are not superhumans, but your ability is too strong. Can you see my abilities? Yes, as long as the loyalty reaches 100, you can see your abilities, Lord, and you can also see other news and the power clearly. Oh, and this settings, what are settings? Bai Ling caught a word that he couldn't understand. Oh, nothing, just understand it as a rule. Rules. Aren't the rules in the territory all set by you, Lord? Su Ming was at a loss for words. He got up in a hurry and excused. I'll go see what they are doing, so that they don't get too tired. Want me to go with you? No, I'll ask Dapeng to take me there. You go and prepare some tea and snacks. Su Ming shied away. The Dapeng in his mouth was the leader of the eagle, and he took a name for convenience. However, this name was actually chosen by the leader of the feather eagle himself. When he learned the language of the human race, he gave himself the name of Yu Peng. It was nondescript, but he liked it. Dapeng's habitat is arranged on a towering tree next to the Lord's mansion, and its family members are also on it. Dapeng, get up and go for a walk. Su Ming shouted in the direction of the tree. PFF'd. Dapeng flew over quickly. Lord, where do you plan to go? Let's talk about it first. Butler Huang won't let you go if it's too far away. Get vaccinated as soon as you open your mouth. This was also frightened by the previous incident, and Huang-san gave a serious warning to all the members of the force afterwards. Su Ming has no objection to this, and doesn't plan to go out anyway. Go and see Lao Huang and the others, and bring some tea and snacks to treat them. Dapeng took Su Ming to the busy place where Huang San and others were busy, where a habitat was being planned for the wolves. However, Su Ming discovered one thing as soon as he arrived, that is, the wolves were all looking up at the sky, as if they were expecting something. Lost a look to find out. This is the water moon howling wolf. Whenever the red moon shines, its attributes will be greatly improved. However, there is a disadvantage, that is, the wolves will become extremely violent, and they will bite other non-similar creatures. However, Huang San planned the habitat of the howling moon wolf in this very open place, which made Su Ming very puzzled. Su Ming followed and looked up, and saw that the red moon was just the beginning. So he hurried forward to find Huang San to remind him. Huang San was a little surprised when he saw Su Ming coming here, but after hearing the reminder, he smiled and reassured Su Ming. Don't worry, Lord, as long as you are in the territory, then the territory will not be affected by any negative effects. Oh, how do you understand? Because of the effect of your destiny talent, Lord, there is a person who is blessed by God, ignoring all negative effects. And your identity is a Lord, so as long as you are within the territory, this ability will also be extended to the entire territory. Naturally, don't worry. Is it still possible to do this? Then can my effect of saving danger include all members of the faction? Su Ming's eyes were full of urgency. If this can be done, then he is not only invincible in the territory, but other people are equally invincible as wild beasts. Unfortunately, Huang San's answer was no. Huang San shook his head. This effect is impossible. Your God's blessed person effect can only take effect when you are in the territory. Once you go out, the territory will also not enjoy this effect. These two effects are exclusive to you, adults, and now the territory is just receiving some discounts. The joy on Su Ming's face dissipated, and he sighed a pity. Seeing this, Huang San said again, actually, sir, it's best if you can't radiate the effect to the entire force. Think about it, if all the force members are really effective, then you want to slaughter other cattle and sheep in the territory in the future. Can you kill it? Su Ming raised his brows, thinking about it. That's true. If it is effective to save all members of the forces from danger, then slaughtering cattle and sheep to supplement meat will have to go to slaughter outside the territory, but the resources outside the territory will not be doubled. Isn't that pitting yourself? You can't slaughter a cow or sheep, but you have to run out as a lord yourself, and then let the effect fail, right? Being woken up by Huang San so little, Su Ming suddenly realized, and became secretly grateful again. By the way, I came here and brought you some tea and snacks. You can distribute them. As he spoke, he took out a few baskets of things he brought from the backpack space. I thank the Lord for everyone. Well, let them gather here after eating, I have something to say. Okay, Huang San responded casually. Knowing that Su Ming doesn't have so many rules and doesn't like those honorifics, he is trying his best to behave casually. After 10 minutes, more than 20 people came one after another. Huang San stepped forward and said, Sir, everyone is here. Okay. Su Ming jumped onto a stone platform, glanced at everyone, and asked, the moon is about to come out, are you tired? Do you want to go back to sleep? It was everyone in the audience who was stunned. They were still happy because they were rewarded with snacks, and the joy on their faces disappeared in time. Lord, what does this mean? Are you saying the opposite? Is it because they don't work hard enough? Although it is true that they are still in full state, it is also because they have nowhere to use their strength. So a group of people looked at me, I looked at you, and finally shook their heads collectively. Su Ming was stunned. Does this make people want to be lazy? After thinking about it, I thought it was because I didn't express it clearly enough. After all, who could refuse to be lazy? So he asked again. I said to go back to rest. Doesn't anyone feel tired? Lord, we are not tired. Zhang San was the first to answer. Everyone else was in denial. This time it embarrassed Su Ming. Huang San, who was on the side, saw Su Ming's intention, so he cleared the siege and said, My lord is worried about your body. I am afraid that you will be overworked, so if you feel tired, go back to rest first, and work tomorrow. Butler Huang, but we really didn't feel tired. We didn't do anything today, just cultivate the fields and build a house. These things are too common. Yeah, I haven't even digested the meat I ate today. Now I'm so refreshed, I can't sleep when I go back. The same is true for me. I also ate the lean meat given by the soldier's brother, which is better than yours. Fart, I'm at my best. No, I'm the best. It's obviously me. It's me. Quote. I don't know why, the two bald heads quarreled like this. But this time, the atmosphere is also lively. Su Ming was stunned. Now I understand, this group of people is really not tired. It is estimated that they can still have this energy after 3 or 4 days of busy work. He came here to tell people to go back to rest, but no one called, but instead made a fool of himself. However, he was also bored in the Lord's mansion. Since everyone didn't want to sleep, he was happy to follow him around. Huang San saw that everyone slowly began to brag about each other, without interrupting, just to let them rest. Walk up to Su Ming. Sir, since I can't call you back, let them go. I will watch it and prevent them from having problems with their bodies. Su Ming jumped off the stone platform, sat down, patted the side, and motioned to Huang San to sit too. I really don't understand why you are so motivated. Isn't it good to still be lazy? Huang San sat down at Su Ming's request. Kaido, for them, it is very painful to be idle, because they are all elite farmers and fishermen, and they have nowhere to use their energy to torture people, and it is precisely because of this that I plan to work all night, and try to plan the wild beasts in one night, and tomorrow we will begin to fully control the work of the entire Shuiyu Island. Aren't we in complete control now? The wild beasts have been summoned, what else is there to control? Su Ming asked with some doubts. Huang San was stunned, and then asked back, do you know what a copy is? Copy. I know, no, how do you know the word? Su Ming suddenly reacted, Huang San is a character in the virtual world, how could he know the word copy in the real world? I don't know how I know it, it seems like I'm born with it. Well, that's really surprising. Well, what I want to say is that if we really completely control Shuiyu Island, then there should be a copy of Shuiyu Island. You mean there is no copy, that means we don't fully control Shuiyu Island. What if there is no copy at all? Impossible, there must be a dungeon in this place. In my knowledge, there is a dungeon in Shuiyu Island, and there will also be a level 10 boost. Level 10, can we handle it with our current strength? It should be okay. Should, you're not sure, I don't know what booze will appear on Shuiyu Island this time. If it's a curse, then we can easily deal with it. If it's physical damage, it can also be ground to death, but if it's magic, we need to wait for alchemy. Teachers, they just need to practice some weapons. Is the boss different? Yes, the bosses are all randomly generated, but after destroying them once, you can control them, and you can use the dungeons to train troops in the future. Training troops. What kind of troops? Our ambition is to farm. Were we called the farming tribe without seeing the name of our faction? No ambition. Su Ming suddenly rolled his eyes at Huang San. Huang San's face was stunned, and then he laughed. The red moon rose, and the wolves really got bonuses as Huang San said, but they did not suffer any negative effects. Su Ming is no longer worried. So far, he admires Huang San's cognition, as if he knows everything about the world. Now Su Ming can't sleep when he goes back, so he pulls Huang San and asks him to tell the magical rumors about this world. As for the development of power, Su Ming is really not very interested, and plans to throw it to Huang San in the future. He himself will be a mascot in the future. It continued until midnight. Su Ming and others still didn't sleep. However, in order to take care of the lazy Lord Su Ming, Huang San asked the big guys to go back together. Things are already busy, and the territorial resources were enough. He suggested Su Ming to upgrade the main city and let others upgrade other buildings. In a forest in West America, John Thompson didn't sleep either. He was waiting for the moment to regain the first place. Today, the power value of the Dragon Kingdom is fixed at 4,700, and it has not been moved for several hours. John Thompson felt his own opportunity had come. After this period of fighting monsters and leveling up, his elite undead soldiers have reached level 4, and the resources obtained are enough for ordinary people to level up. So he woke ordinary people up and put them to work. Ordinary people dare not say anything about this, but their loyalty is reduced by 1, like a silent protest. Only -1, which is irrelevant to John Thompson. Soon, his power value began to increase. 4,300, 4,400, 4,500. The new round refreshed the past, and John Thompson's power value reached 4,600. Seeing that it was about to be flush with the first, John Thompson's heart began to beat wildly. I'm even more excited than when I took the first place. But at this juncture, his housekeeper suddenly called him to communicate that the stone materials in the territory had been collected. Not only is the power value stuck again, but stone resources can no longer be obtained. Leak, 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 hurry up and rush to me, I must take the first place, and I have to surpass them and surpass everyone. Hurry up and collect resources for me, hurry up. Collect stones for me at all costs, did you hear? Did you hear? John Thompson roared and hung up the communication angrily. As long as the main city rises to the third level, I will definitely be able to return to the first place, and the resources are still a little short, just a little bit. His current resources: stone, 23,000, 15 stone quarries yield already mined. Wood, 14,500, 2,487 plus 180% output from 21 logging farms. Iron ore, 5,500, 9 iron mines yield 944 plus 180%. Fine iron, 220. It can be seen that there is enough wood and iron to upgrade the main city to the third level, only stone materials are lacking. And there is a shortage of stones in his territory. So if you want to collect enough stones as soon as possible, you can only go out of the territory and search outside. But you must know that the wild monsters in the territory are all below level 10, but there is no such condition outside. As John Thompson's housekeeper, he had no choice but to go outside to collect. So he directed others to go outside the territory. Another hour later, John Thompson, who was watching the rise in resources, suddenly received a beep. Ding! Your elite undead soldier was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Ding! Your farmer 3 was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Ding! Your elite undead soldier was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Ding! Your undead beast *10 was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. The continuous prompting made John Thompson frown. Such casualties must have encountered high-level creatures. He wanted to send a message to the housekeeper to let him retreat, but when he saw that the stone resource had risen to 29,100, his heart was shaken. Wait, for a while, just for a while, it's only a few hundred away, just stick with it for a while. John Thompson was like a gambler at this time, unwilling to give up like this. I wanted to give it a try, but I forgot to think about the future. After a few minutes the resource went up to 29,500. Ding! Your undead soldier *3 was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Stone rose to 29,900. Ding! Your miner was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Ding! Your undead beast *3 was killed by the earth shatter outside the territory. Stone rises to 30,200. Seeing that there was enough stone, John Thompson immediately called the housekeeper's correspondence. He didn't want to let the casualties increase again. Half an hour later, the housekeeper came back with a dozen people who were still alive. This time, he lost 2 elite undead soldiers, 3 ordinary undead soldiers, 3 farmers, a miner, and 13 undead beasts. It can be said that more than half of the casualties and heavy losses. John Thompson looked gloomy, but when he thinks that he will be able to regain the first place in a while, he will have to pay all of this is worth it. Number 1. My number 1 is coming back. As long as I can get back number 1, everything else will be fine, everything will be fine. John Thompson just glanced at the housekeeper and others, and then went to prepare to upgrade the Lord's mansion. He didn't know that at the moment he turned around, the loyalty of almost everyone except the undead dropped. The highest one dropped by 25 points, and the others were all around 20 points. Originally only had 80 points of loyalty, but all of a sudden, they were all on the verge of danger. Ding! The main city has been upgraded successfully. This upgrade consumes stone 30,000, wood 5,000, iron ore 2,000, refined iron 100. Ding! Congratulations to player John Thompson for successfully upgrading the main city to 3rd level, the power value plus 1000, and the upper limit of the territorial building level. Ding! Player John Thompson's level has been raised to level 3, and his attributes have been improved. Ding! Lord's message function unlocked. Ding! The territory has been expanded to 300 meters outside the Mizusawa forest. Resources required for the next upgrade. Stone 60,000, wood 8,000, iron ore 4,000, refined iron 200. Add 1,000, ha ha ha, add 1,000. Stable this time, 5,600, a full 900, let's see how you catch up with me this time. John Thompson was ecstatic when he saw the rising power value. So I quickly opened the leaderboard and waited for the next refresh of the list. Water Moon Island. After Su Ming returned to the Lord's mansion, he simply clicked on the upgrade. Anyway, he has a lot of resources. Because having talent can reduce resources, other buildings don't actually consume much resources. After that, he went to sleep again, leaving other matters to Huang-san and the others. However, in Su Ming's meeting room, he suddenly saw a figure on the bed, and he was stunned. When I got closer, I saw that it was Bai Ling. Although she was puzzled and didn't know why the girl ran to her bed, she still didn't wake her up. So I went out and went to another place to sleep. The Lord's mansion is very large, there are many vacancies, and the layout is basically the same, there is nothing that can't sleep. I randomly chose a nearby place and found that the room was quite fragrant, so I went to bed without worrying about it. Habitually turn off the beep. Just half an hour after he fell asleep, a Taoist figure rubbed his eyes and walked into the room in a daze, and also got into bed. And Huang-san is still busy. Beeps are also playing. Ding! Congratulations to the Lord of the Farming Tribe, your warehouse has been successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, the capacity is tripled, and the power plus 300. Ding! Congratulations to the Lord of the Farming Tribe, your forge has been successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, the power plus 300. Ding! Congratulations to the Lord of the Farming Tribe, your recruitment office has been successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, and the power plus 300. Ding! Congratulations to the Lord of the Farming Tribe, your residence has been successfully upgraded, the current level is 3, and the power plus 300. After that, another beep sounded. Ding! Congratulations to the Farming Tribe for winning the top spot, the current force value is 6,200, ranking 1. And in Mizusawa Forest, John Thompson is counting the time, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Finally, when the sound came, he couldn't help raising his head and opening his hands, ready to meet the wonderful sound. I secretly shouted in my heart, it's coming, ah! My number 1. Unfortunately, the beep did not sound as he wished. After waiting for a while, I realized that the time had passed, but still no sound was heard. John Thompson. What's the situation? John Thompson quickly opened the leaderboard. The first name above has indeed changed. An unknown force, Donglan continent, with a force value of 6,200. And his own power, with a power value of 5,600, still ranks second. Leak. How could this be? How could this be? John Thompson's eyes widened in disbelief, shaking his head desperately to deny the result. But the naked words in front of him all reminded him that this was the truth. Leak. John Thompson's eyes were red, and he held his head up and growled. The voice was shrill and desperate. Finally, fainted. But Su Ming didn't know that tonight, he broke 2 people in a row, and played 1 person. The first arrogant in the West American continent, in the next 6 days, did not enter the top 10 again. At 6 o'clock the next morning, the red sun rose on time. Su Ming had a sweet dream. In the dream, warm fragrant nephrite is in the arms. However, he felt that this dream was short-lived, and he was woken up after a while. It was Bai Ling who woke him up. Bai Ling's face was ruddy, and there was shyness in his eyebrows, and some did not dare to look directly at Su Ming. On the other hand, Su Ming was a little drowsy and didn't get up, so his first reaction was to look around. It was found that the room was decorated in pink tones, which was a bit confusing for a while. Lord, it's time to get up. Bai Ling pressed down his thumping little heart and shouted softly. Did I run to your room? Hearing Bai Ling's voice and seeing Bai Ling's red face, Su Ming also understood. This time it's even. You slept in my room, and I slept in yours, no one lost. Su Ming yawned before slowly getting up. But when Bai Ling heard Su Ming's words, there was an obvious loss in his eyes. Looking at Su Ming like this, it was obvious that he didn't remember anything about last night. Therefore, Bai Ling couldn't help but cursed himself secretly. You are a self-righteous idiot, why don't you wait for the adults to wake up before getting up? This time it was taken advantage of in vain. Su Ming got out of bed and went to open the door with bare feet, the smell of cleaning blowing in his face. Take a deep breath. Ah, is this the morning in this world? It's clean without a trace of turbidity. Then he took out Xie from the backpack space and put it on, took out a coat and put it on his body, and then went out directly. Bai Ling, who was behind him, hurriedly followed. After washing up, Su Ming came to the outside of the Lord's mansion. At this point, all buildings have already changed. All third-level buildings or all fourth-level functions. Su Ming turned on the beep, then found a place to sit and read the records. In fact, there are not many, just some tips to increase power, and some tips to obtain resources. Su Ming was taken aback when he saw the hint that he had won the first place. Then click on the leaderboard, and the own power is at the top of the list. This is the first. Sleep first. Su Ming felt a little strange. If someone who was still in a coma heard this, he would probably be pissed off. After seeing the power value bonus after the building was upgraded to the third level, Su Ming knew it. But even though he ranked first, Su Ming was not happy, he didn't care about it. Scrolling down, I saw that the ranking of the sericulture tribe had also risen to 78, and only then did a smile appear on his face. I can't see it. This girl looks soft and weak. I didn't expect that farming is quite powerful. At this speed, it is estimated that we will be able to contact you tomorrow. I hope that mother-child beads are useful and can be a little closer. Turning off the leaderboard, Su Ming walked to the new building in the territory, intending to study the store that was not available yesterday. This store was built by Huang San last night. There was an unfamiliar face in the mall, who was supposed to be a businessman. But what is interesting is that this businessman is a woman, with a hot body and extraordinary temperament. Wow, is this the merchant assigned to my territory? The quality is so high. Su Ming's heartfelt admiration. Good morning, Lord. Behind Su Ming, several people who invited him to go with him greeted Su Ming. Hey, hello, it's early. Su Ming hurriedly turned his head to respond, without any air. Sir, are you here to find Yunyang? Fish girl, her. Su Ming pointed to the inside of the store. Yes, the proprietress of this store is Yunyang. Have you all met? I've seen it, I even exchanged some gold coins for the meat you rewarded. That's right, I changed it too. Those soldiers' dage are the most exchanged. A piece of meat is a few hundred gold coins. A look of interest appeared in Su Ming's eyes. I thought to myself, let me just say, a world without currency is so likely to have to build a store. Well, that's fine, I'll change some gold coins too, you can do whatever you want, don't worry about me. Okay, bye sir. Goodbye, Lord. Well, goodbye, take a break. Wave goodbye to several people. Yo, your lord is quite easygoing. At this moment, a crisp and charming voice sounded behind Su Ming. Su Ming's heart trembled, electric current seemed to flow through his body, and he felt that his ears were about to be pregnant. When I turned around, I saw that the lady boss who was busy in the store just now came out. Your name is Yunyang. The proprietress gave Shishirin a salute, her eyebrows lowered slightly, and the corners of her mouth opened slightly. Kaido, little girl Yuxuanji, I have seen Lord. Su Ming raised her brows, her face turned red, and she couldn't stand the voice in her heart. Cough cough. Ah, you can exchange gold coins here, can you buy things then? Looking at Su Ming's embarrassed appearance, Yuxuanji covered his mouth and smiled. Of course, since it's a store, why don't you sell anything, Lord, what do you want? First, take me to see it first. Okay, please, sir. Speaking of which, Yuxuanji led Su Ming into the store. Seeing this scene, Bai Ling, who followed behind, suddenly felt a sense of urgency. Grown-ups. At this moment, Bai Ling felt as if he had been abandoned. Tears welled up in his eyes, but instead of blaming Su Ming, he began to be hostile to Yuxuanji. This fox spirit, who seduced my family as soon as he came, is definitely not a good person. I have to teach her a lesson. Saying that, Bai Ling came out of the store angrily. But when he was about to enter the store, he couldn't help but stop. If I go in like this, will it be difficult for adults to do it? What if the adults think that I am ignorant? If it lowers the ratings in the hearts of adults, it will not be worth the loss, and the fox spirit will be cheap. Thinking about it, Bai Ling took a vicious look inside the store, then turned and left. Sir, these are the only products available now, do you want me to introduce you? Yu Xuanji brought Su Ming to the shelf. There are only dozens of items on the shelves, and they are all simple life. Su Ming waved his hand at Yu Xuanji's self-invitation. Su Ming didn't have any equipment, medicine bottles, blueprints and the like. Are your clothes any different? Su Ming looked at the clothes hanging on the shelves, both men's and women's clothes, with bright colors and soft textures. It's nothing different, it's just ordinary clothes, maybe more comfortable to wear. Yu Xuanji shook his head, seeing Su Ming's disappointed expression, and added, however, when your territory level increases, we will consider bringing more goods to trade here. Su Ming caught a doubt. Is this businessman still in a group? One person per territory. Yu Xuanji didn't hide it. Yes, we, merchants like us are a group, collectively referred to as resident merchants, and will appear whenever a lord meets the conditions. Businessman stationed in the territory. Why is this name so strange? Is it weird? It's good to get used to it. It's just for the convenience of distinguishing. After all, there are still many travel merchants in this world. What's the difference between you and a traveler? Yes, our goods need permission to be unlocked, but travel merchants don't. Many of the things they bring are very valuable. Yu Xuanji smiled when he said this. For example, with your current power, Lord, you will most likely only be able to sigh when you meet upstream merchants. Our businessmen stationed in the territory are different. We will provide timely things for the territory, and we will keep pace with the times. How about it? Do you feel the advantages of our businessmen stationed in the territory? Su Ming's mouth twitched. He wanted to say, can you speak well? Looking at people in their 30s, what's the matter with tempting me as a pure-hearted boy? Of course, Yu Xuanji did not have 30. Su Ming checked it just now, and basic information was displayed. Age is 27 and grade is 30. It's a role that Su Ming can't provoke now. Cough cough. It's okay, each has its own advantages. Su Ming gave a very objective answer. Although your stationed merchants can help the development of the territory, most of the things you sell will not be unusual, and they will not have any miraculous effects in daily life. Although the goods of travel merchants are expensive, they are often rare, and sometimes they may be urgently needed. One more thing, Mr. Fish, you don't allow bargaining in your store, right? Hearing this, a strange color flashed in Yu Xuanji's eyes. Obviously, I didn't expect this new power lord to be able to give such an objective conclusion under his own charm. But it was also at this moment that Yu Xuanji was relieved. It is no wonder that the superiors would assign themselves to this new force, thinking that the potential of this force is not ordinary. Lord said, if the lord has demand, we can also have a discount. Oh, what are the conditions for giving a discount? A businessman, a lifeless creature, Su Ming doesn't believe there will be a free lunch. Cough cough. This time, Yu Xuanji was a little embarrassed. However, he still responded. The condition, of course, is a small condition, that is, I hope that the Lord will allow us to have a small privilege in your territory. The smile on Su Ming's face subsided instantly, and the speed of his face change made Yu Xuanji, who was used to seeing the world, feel ashamed. Soon Yu Xuanji added, of course, it can also be other things. For example, the kindness of adults to our merchants can increase our favorability to the territory so that we will also have discounts. At the same time, there are some special days. We will also have events, and there will also be discounts. I see, then it seems that our territory has a lot to please your merchants. A smile appeared on Su Ming's face again. However, this smile made Yu Xuanji feel chills in his heart. I thought, it seems that it is impossible for me to seek benefits in this territory. Su Ming looked at the goods and found it boring. By the way, I heard that you can exchange gold coins here. I don't know how to give the exchange method. We will assess the value of the goods before proceeding with the transaction. Anything will do. Well, any goods will do. Then what if I just want you to assess the value and not sell it? The sale is voluntary, of course we won't force it, and we will help evaluate it for free. Well, I just have something here that I want you to estimate. Having said that, Su Ming took out the explosive equipment from the bulls. Yu Xuanji suddenly opened his eyes wide, his eyes full of shock. Is this the equipment you got today, my lord? Equipment will only explode on creatures above 5th level, this is the law of this world. And the explosion rate is extremely low, and it will be a little higher on the boost level. But looking at the equipment in front of him, this is clearly a set of boulder bullshit. A whole set, said to kill 10 boos, Yu Xuanji also believed. But isn't this the second day after the new forces entered this world? Could it be that this person in front of him has the ability to kill 5th level boos on the first day? Yes, it is torture, otherwise it is impossible to collect all the components of the suit. But if you think so, where do you get so many boosts? While Yu Xuanji was shocked, he also fell into contemplation. She would never have imagined that these equipments Su Ming would explode in one go. Of course, Su Ming didn't have the heart to tell her. What? Can these equipments sell for a good price? Seeing Yu Xuanji's expression, Su Ming was also overjoyed. It seems that this gold coin is not difficult to earn. Yu Xuanji came back to his senses and nodded. Sir, these pieces of equipment are all 5th level equipment, and they have grades. If you sell one piece, you can sell one piece for 500 to 800 yuan. But if you sell the whole set, my lord, the price will be higher. Higher? How high? About 7,000. Yu Xuanji didn't lie to Su Ming either, and told the price frankly. Su Ming was surprised. 7,000, which on average is equivalent to 1,000 per piece of equipment. It seems that it's still a good deal to sell a suit. Su Ming thought to himself. But he didn't plan to sell it, so he put away the equipment and took out another dagger. This dagger is the horn dagger, the only silver level equipment on the boulder bull, and the only one that Su Ming can use. When he saw the silver equipment, Yu Xuanji's eyes suddenly lit up. Yu Xuanji has long been accustomed to all kinds of silver-grade equipment. But to say that there is a silver-level equipment in the new force, it is really a rare thing. It is no exaggeration to say that this power is the darling of God. Equipment is divided into grades, namely whiteboard, bronze, silver, gold, black gold, epic and legendary 7th level. It's harder to get behind. Epic level and above are actually title equipment, and Yu Xuanji has never seen a few pieces. As this silver equipment, Yu Xuanji became more and more curious and asked, Lord, have you found the booze group of boulder bulls? I remember that the boos are all alone. How do you say it? Su Ming was taken aback by the question. He didn't know what Yu Xuanji was thinking. Otherwise, how could there be so much equipment? We have all the sets, and this horn dagger, how lucky you are to get it. It's just good luck. Su Ming understands that this is because own talent is too outrageous and misunderstood by others. But he didn't intend to explain, just vaguely. A suspicious look appeared in Yu Xuanji's eyes, but he didn't ask any further questions. They are all smart people who can get a lot of information in one sentence. This Su Ming must have a secret, and this secret may be the reason for the source of these equipment. Then, do you plan to sell this equipment, sir? To be honest, Yu Xuanji was also somewhat interested in this dagger. Although the attribute bonus of the dagger is a bit tasteless to her, it is better than the unique shape. And it's small enough to be used as a decoration. No, this thing is also for you to estimate a price. Sell, what a joke. It's the only thing I can use. If you sold it, would you be naked again? The market price of this dagger can be sold for 2,000, but I can bid for 3,000. Lord, don't you really think about it? Yu Xuanji was a little seductive and said that 1,000 gold coins were just a small amount of money to her. Su Ming hurriedly put away the dagger and shook his head. He can't be fooled. And now it's useless for him to take money, and there's nowhere to spend it. Since the price has been estimated, let's talk about the store tax. I think this 1 cent is too little. You are so beautiful, boss Yu, and everyone loves you. Why don't you have pity on me and consider adding a little more? A bright smile appeared on Su Ming's face. It is said that reaching out and not hitting people with smiling faces, Su Ming's appearance made Yu Xuanji stunned for a while. It is definitely not possible to directly reject Su Ming. After all, she herself is a newcomer, and Su Ming is the lord of the territory. If you want to mix here, you must not be too strong, at least not in front of the lord. But she didn't want to let Yu Xuanji give in. So Yu Xuanji thought about it, and soon Kaido said, Lord, Lord, you are not embarrassing me, I am just obeying the instructions above. First, take out your boss as a shield. I also really want to give you a little more profit. After all, these are all from your territory. But if I really do this, then this job will be lost, and the Lord doesn't want to see the little girl living on the streets, right? Then sell miserably. Furthermore, when the power of adults develops later, this distribution can actually be changed. It's really impossible now. At most, I can give you a few discounts. It's a welcome gift. What do you think, my lord? Then throw the bait, and finally make a small profit. Standard businessman routine. And Su Ming really took the bait. Or to put it another way, he didn't really hope to take advantage of the businessman Yu Xuanji. Otherwise, it is Huang-san. He actually said this for the last few words of Yu Xuanji. Get something cheap. No matter how much he thought about Yu Xuanji, he would never have thought that the real thoughts in Su Ming's heart were so simple. There's no need for the discount. I don't have any gold coins. Why don't you give me 30 or 40 pieces of clothes? I can also give benefits to the rest of my staff. Su Ming pointed to the clothes he just looked at. Yu Xuanji breathed a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that Su Ming was a fool, so it would be difficult to deal with. But when he heard that he opened his mouth to ask for 30 or 40 clothes, he also took a deep breath. After thinking about it, I think it is acceptable. But in the end, he pretended to be very embarrassed and said, Sir, I am also newly opened, and there are not many goods, you. Selling badly again. Su Ming frowned. Seeing this, Yu Xuanji hurriedly said, At most 20, really, sir, 20 is enough. Yu Xuanji made this appearance, in fact, to bargain. After all, as a businessman, how can you not bargain? Unexpectedly, Su Ming agreed directly. Okay, then 20, but I have to choose myself. Yu Xuanji was stunned for a moment. Well, then Su Ming happily went to choose 20 pieces of clothes, of which 3 women's clothes were taken away, and 2 more for himself and Huang-san, and the rest were just casual. After taking it, Su Ming waved to Yu Xuanji. Madam, don't disturb your business, I'll go back first, goodbye. Finally, Yu Xuanji left the store under the stunned eyes of Yu Xuanji. After a while, Yu Xuanji came back to his senses. After thinking about it, I realized that the purpose of Su Ming's visit this time was to take advantage. As for what valuation is just incidental. The latter seeking benefits is just a false shot. This was not enough, and finally another outrageous condition was put forward, which gave Yu Xuanji a brace. This is a little fox, framed by him. Yu Xuanji stomped his feet in anger. I didn't expect her to be fooled one day. After returning to the Lord's mansion, Su Ming threw all 3 women's clothes to Bai Ling. I ate some pastries myself, and then ran around to play around. For the sake of safety, the leader of the elephant was brought along casually. After walking around the territory, I found that the resource fields have really been refreshed, and the food has also been harvested. After that, I took a look at the situation of Huang-san and others, and really didn't feel tired at all. Give the clothes to Huang-san, and then ask Huang-san to collect some resources for the alchemists and blacksmiths to practice some long-range weapons and healing medicines. After all, the wild monsters encountered later will become stronger and stronger, and these things are necessary. What's more, Huang-san and the others plan to find the biggest boost on Shuiyu Island. In the end, he also gave the giant rock bull set, and asked Huang-san to assign it to the soldier who was first upgraded to 5th level. After Huang-san told the soldiers about this, these people were obviously more courageous, and those who screamed would take the first place. In their eyes, this suit is not only equipment, but also an honor. In the future, when bragging to others, I can proudly say, back then, Daddy was the first to be rewarded with equipment from the Lord. This is the symbol of the first warrior. In less than half an hour, Su Ming received a prompt tone. Ding! Your soldier Chen Dabbing killed the bloodthirsty bat, successfully upgraded, the current level is 5, the attribute has been greatly improved. It's very fast, but this bloodthirsty bat didn't seem to see it yesterday. Could it be that it wasn't recruited? Su Ming thought about it for a while, but still didn't have an impression, so he didn't bother to think about it anymore. The bullhorn is not a panacea, and it is normal for some wild monsters to be unaffected. After another 10 minutes, the upgrade sound also sounded. Unfortunately, it's too late, the equipment is gone. He was so angry that others surrounded and beat Chen Dabbing, and then he was beaten up by Chen Dabbing. Because it can't be broken at all. Broken Cloud Mountain, halfway up the mountain. Zhang Susu also looked at the rankings after getting up this morning. Originally, she thought she would only be overtaken by the Chongyi Empire. The power value of Chongyi's empire has indeed surpassed her. But what she didn't expect was that the first position was also not from the Chongyi Empire, but from a force that rose later. Where is this force sacred? Will it belong to our Dragon Kingdom? Or, is this a mysterious character hidden by other countries? Zhang Susu fell into deep thought. Before, she thought that this person belonged to the Dragon Kingdom, but now, her thoughts began to waver. To be able to achieve this power value, it must be that the main city has risen to level 3. The one who could achieve this step must be a talent above S rank. If there really is an S rank talent awakener in the Dragon Country, there's no reason she doesn't know it. But although he didn't know who this person was, it didn't affect Zhang Susu's planning and rhythm at all. A few hours later, the main city was successfully upgraded and returned to the second place again. The Ula Empire in Bailuo continent soon followed, and John Thompson was squeezed out of the top 3. People from other forces were shocked when they saw that the rankings had changed. Plug-in. This is almost everyone's first reaction. Otherwise, what they think will be unbalanced. After working so hard to cultivate and develop, he could only gain a little power in the end. But what about others? People or flying? It's okay to suddenly fly into the top 10, but also to the top 4. The top 4 are still not satisfied, but now they have burst 2 people in a row and got the first place. Straight to the sky. Isn't this what hanging is? Even the country of Bangzi, who is not wanting face, dare not make a sound, and no longer say that this person belongs to their country. But after swiping the ranking list several times, there is still no difference, and now there is no way to admit it or not. Then everyone exclaimed, "I witnessed history." And they all wrote a sentence in their own small books. Jingxian, who is amazing, soars into the sky. One day, the power broke 6,000, and history was rewritten. After a brief shock, people began to busy themselves with the development of their own territory. After all, now I can only shout a few words and surprise by myself, and I can't chat with other people. So it's better to hurry up and open the World Chat channel as soon as possible. It was John Thompson, who woke up at noon the next day. The first reaction after waking up was to check the leaderboard, and after seeing the name of the first position, I was completely desperate. It turned out that last night's experience was not a dream. After that, he also had no intention of developing his power. After all, more than half of the manpower has been lost. Just let the housekeeper arrange it by himself, which is barely maintaining the operation of the force, so that we can wait for the arrival of the recruitment next week. Donglan Continent, unknown forces, wait for me. John Thompson's body is vain, but the vicious look in his eyes is cold to the bone. Soon the day goes by. John Thompson's power fell out of the top 10. Su Ming's power value rose to 8,000. The second-ranked Dragon Kingdom has a power value of 7,500. The third Ula Empire power value is 6,300. In the Donglan continent, the power value has greatly opened up other continents. Before falling asleep, Su Ming tried to communicate with Ku Wanru, but failed. Looks like we'll have to wait until tomorrow. Because I didn't take a nap today, I was watching the scenery everywhere, so Su Ming was too sleepy and fell asleep with Changxiang. And Huang San and the others couldn't find a level 10 boost today, maybe this boost hasn't been refreshed yet. They didn't plan to continue working tonight, they all listened to Su Ming's words and planned to have a good night's rest. Looking forward to a new day. The next morning. This time Bai Ling tried his best and failed to wake Su Ming. Aiya, sir, get up quickly, no lord likes to sleep. If you don't get up again, the workers will be lazy in a while. There is no way to break through the territory. After 2 days of getting along, Bai Ling was completely free of constraints at this time. She was a bit perverse in nature, but after knowing that Su Ming was really approachable, she let go more and more. The way the two get along has also begun to approach friends. Su Ming is also very sleepy. She has slept for 8 hours, but she still feels sleepy. Without opening his eyes, he just said in a daze, "If they be lazy, let them steal it, just don't bother me to sleep." Humph. Bai Ling threw down the quilt again, and snorted, "Then you can fall asleep, sir, and I will feed all the delicious food I made for you to Big Ben." Big Stupid, the name that Bai Ling gave to the head of the elephant. Because she feels quite like the leader, no matter what he does, he looks clumsy. But she forgot that it was quite as big as it was, how could it still be able to express dexterity? Su Ming did not agree with the name at first, but the leader of the elephants himself liked it very much. This time it is worthy of the name. Well, let's go, let's feed Dapeng a little by the way. Su Ming pulled the quilt over his head. Bai Spiritual Qi was anxious and stomped his feet unwillingly. Yesterday, when she went to look for Su Ming, she accidentally discovered the elixir on Shuiyu Island. After she brought it back and asked the alchemist, she found out that it was a bone-forging flower. Forging bone flour is rare, and eating it can greatly increase the blood volume. And it is better to make porridge with other medicinal herbs. It's just that once the medicine is picked, the effect of the medicine will slowly dissipate. So Bai Ling had to stay up all night. But now, the porridge has been boiled, but Su Ming can't cry, which makes Bai Ling very distressed. How do I get the adults to get up? Bai Ling still did not give up. As for giving the porridge to the Big Stupid they said earlier. Delusion. They are not so lucky. Suddenly, Bai Ling's mind flashed. I heard that men become very energetic when they encounter that kind of thing, should I try it? The white civet cat looked at Su Ming on the bed, and her face instantly blushed. As if making up his mind, he stomped his foot. It's not the first time to share a bed anyway, what are you afraid of? Bai Ling secretly thought to cheer himself up. Then he took off his own jacket, took off his shoes, lifted Su Ming's quilt and got in. In the haze, Su Ming felt that there was something beside him, and half opened his eyes in confusion. Because I'm not awake, I can't see very real. After Bai Ling went to bed, she trembled and looked very nervous. It was a mistake last time, but this time she made her own decision. Approaching Su Ming tentatively, a warm breath rushed towards him. While making Bai Ling shy, he was also extremely satisfied. Then Bai Ling let go completely, and boldly reached out and hugged Su Ming. Bai Ling, what are you doing? At this time, Su Ming knew who it was, and asked aloud. Bai Ling didn't dare to answer, and shyly arched his head towards Su Ming's chest. Perhaps it was because of Bai Ling's action that Su Ming's body began to react. What's down there? Bai Ling suddenly felt something hard and reached out to touch it. Su Ming woke up instantly. Bai Ling also escaped from the quilt immediately. Bai Ling, you are a crime, you know. I'll sue you for harassment. Su Ming sat up, no more sleepiness. Nonsense, if you sleep again, you will lose your chastity. Bai Ling was still a little uncomfortable, but it seemed that the thing just now gave her too much shock. But after hearing Su Ming's words, he couldn't help wondering subconsciously, Sir, what is harassment? Forehead. Su Ming was also stunned. After a few minutes, Su Ming explained to Bai Ling what harassment is, and Bai Ling also successfully made Su Ming drink bone-forging porridge. Ding! Eat bone-forging porridge, blood volume plus 500, only valid for the first time. Direct consumption of forging bone flour is plus 300, and the effect is 200 more when boiled into porridge. At the same time, Su Ming's level has also reached level 3 due to the upgrade of the main city, and his HP has reached 1100. This is because Huang San brought him 3 fruits that increase the blood volume. Because he is not boosted by destiny talent, level 3 HP is only 300. It turned out to be this thing, no wonder you woke me up in such a hurry. Su Ming also knew about Bai Lingke's acquisition of the bone-forging flour, and congratulated him at the time. And let her eat more tonic. Unexpectedly, it entered my own stomach in a blink of an eye. This time, Su Ming's anger just now disappeared. Bai Ling nodded as he cleaned up the dishes and said, this porridge is hard to bear, and the medicinal effect is easy to dissipate, so you can only eat it early, but whoever makes you sleep like a dead pig, you won't wake up even if you cry. That's why you're under the covers. With a straight face, Bai Ling explained, listen to what others say, this can make a man spiritual. Su Ming, you have changed your spirit, you have become excited. Thanks to Su Ming's temperament, the desire is not so strong, otherwise Bai Ling would not want to get out of bed today. Cough. I don't know who taught you this, but you can't play like this in the future, do you hear? Ah, why, isn't it very effective? You are not sleepy now, my lord. Quote. Su Ming was speechless. Can you deny it? No, I really have no sleepiness now. But can you admit it? No, isn't this fueling Bai Ling's arrogance? Don't worry about it so much, anyway, if I say no, you can't, just remember it. In the end, Su Ming moved out as his lord to give orders. Oh fine. Seeing this, Bai Ling didn't dare to say anything more. It is rare for Su Ming to fiddle with his identity, which face has to give. Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this. After all, he is an 18-year-old teenager, and no matter how he has no desires, he can't stand Bai Ling's repeated tossing and turning. Otherwise, something is wrong with your body. Su Ming got up and planned to go outside for a walk. At this time, Bai Ling suddenly asked curiously, "Sir, what was the thing I caught just now? Is it a weapon?" Boom. These words were like a thunderclap, and Lei's Su Ming was tender on the outside. His face flushed red, and he ran away. Give Bai Ling a physiology class. Su Ming hasn't matured yet. Su Ming came to the outside of the main city and happened to see Huang San outside the forge. After walking over and asking, I realized that this was a weapon that Moshe was refining. This time Su Ming was also interested, so he just waited outside. Huang San didn't go in, and he didn't mean to go in either. After a while, Moshe came out, holding many large and small medicine bottles of different colors. I have seen the Lord. Seeing Su Ming, Moshe gave a salute first. Su Ming waved her hand and let her be casual. Then he asked curiously, "What are these?" Moshe handed some of the things in her hand to Huang San, and then began to introduce. "Sir, these are throwing weapons made by me, which can cause damage to the enemy from a distance. This is a Molotov cocktail. It is the easiest to refine, but sometimes it can be used magically. This is a poison gas bottle, and the poison gas released will give people a poisonous effect. This is a bomb bottle, this is a smoke bottle, this is a flash bottle." Then he pointed to the bottle in Huang San's hand, and continued, "This is a healing potion, this is a magic potion, this is a stamina potion, this is a paralysis powder, this is a poisoning potion, this is..." Introduced everything. How many of these have you refined? It's not much. Because of the limited materials, there are only more than 100 weapons and more than 300 auxiliary medicines, which can barely distribute the soldiers evenly. That adds up to more than 400. How long do you have to practice? Su Ming was a little surprised. Huang San interjected and replied for Moshe, "Sir, Moshe is a senior alchemist. These are just the simplest things, which are easy for her. If there are enough materials, she can completely produce them. These things can actually be bought in stores, but we have to wait until the 5th level. We are enjoying it in advance because of Moshe, and she can be regarded as a great contribution." Moshe was a little embarrassed, but also agreed. "These are the ones I made yesterday in an hour, but Butler Huang came to get them today." "That's it, it's hard work, you should credit Huang San first." Su Ming nodded, took a poison gas bottle, and asked, "Is this thing considered magic damage?" Moshe nodded. "Forget it. The damage is divided into magic damage and physical damage, and the poisoning effect cannot be regarded as physical damage, so it can only be classified as magic damage. Although some are unreasonable, but still acceptable. To refine these things, there should be a lot of materials, right? They were all collected yesterday." "Yes, Butler Huang directed the beasts to collect them." "Can a savage be able to do this?" Su Ming looked at Huang San and asked, "All these things are ready, are you going to find boost again?" "Getting all the gas cylinders out, this can make up for the lack of magic damage for the soldiers." Huang San nodded. "Yes, I plan to let Chen Dabing lead the team to look for it, and I will organize other people to collect resources, raise the 4th level main city today, strive for 5th level tomorrow, and recruit more special professional people." It can be seen that Huang San is very attentive to the development of the territory. "Okay, you can go down and arrange it yourself. Just let me know when you want to upgrade the main city." Su Ming was still the shopkeeper, waved at them, and went for a walk outside the territory. Looking at Su Ming's back lazily leaving, Moshe looked at Huang-san and congratulated, Butler Huang is really lucky to have met such a delegating lord. In the eyes of outsiders, Su Ming's laissez-faire has indeed become decentralization. Hee, aren't you the same? The adults are free and easy, with good temper and disposition, and with such a powerful talent, they treat all members of the territory equally. So as long as we live up to the expectations of the adults, our territory is destined to rise. Also, there are no mediocre people in the territory, and the adults may have taken a fancy to this by delegating power. Well, all right, I won't say more gossip. I still have to find Li Dazui to get the javelin that I made. Go ahead and do your work. Okay. The two of them left. Moon Valley. Ku Wanru woke up early because she could upgrade the main city to level 3 today. Her starting territory is very good, there is no shortage of resources, and she has blessing skills, so she can collect resources quickly. In fact, as long as she asked the people to work overtime a little bit, maybe she would have been promoted to level 3 yesterday. But she just couldn't bear it, she wanted people to rest on time. Of course she did so in return, which was a steady increase in people's loyalty. Now the highest has reached 90, and the lowest is 75. You must know that the members she recruited had only 60 loyalty at the beginning. Okay, you can break through. Seeing that the resources were sufficient, Ku Wanru's face became happy. I'll upgrade to level 3 first, and then I'll just wait for Su Ming to upgrade. When Ku Wanru thought of Su Ming, her face couldn't help but flush. Especially the scene when Su Ming cleared her siege on the day of her awakening was vivid in my mind. Rising to level 3 seems to be one step closer to seeing Su Ming. Ding! The main city has been upgraded successfully. This upgrade consumes stone 30,000, wood 5,000, iron ore 2,000, refined iron 100. Ding! Congratulations to player Ku Wanru for successfully upgrading the main city to 3rd level, the power value plus 1000, and the upper limit of the territorial building level. Ding! Player Ku Wanru's level has been raised to level 3, and attributes have been improved. Ding! Lord's message function unlocked. Ku Wanru's power value rose to 5000 and successfully entered the top 50. Turning on the Lord's message function, Ku Wanru entered the name of the farming tribe with the mentality of experiencing the new function. Then, in a funny way, I clicked and dialed. But what she didn't expect was that she actually dialed. Called. Ku Wanru was stunned for a moment. Chapter 31. Su Ming, who was running and exercising outside the territory, suddenly stopped. Yes, his daily walk is actually running for fitness. Otherwise, how could a lazy man be full of muscles? Ding! You have received a communication request from the Lord of the Sericulture tribe, are you connected? Silkworm tribe, isn't that the tribe of Ku Wanru? Promoted to 3rd level. After Su Ming was stunned for a while, he immediately chose to connect. Soon, Ku Wanru's bright red face was projected. Yo, I didn't expect you to be very fast. Su Ming found a rock and sat down casually. But Ku Wanru's adaptability is not as strong as Su Ming's. After seeing Su Ming, Ku Wanru immediately stopped, as if she had lost her mind. I can't believe that Su Ming has reached level 3 before her. She is not a novice either, she knows how terrifying the bonus gap brought by the Lord's seal level is. But no matter what he thought, he couldn't figure out how Su Ming could surpass his own with the seal of an F-rank lord. So at this moment, he doubted Su Ming's talent. But the white light that appeared on the portal before did indeed prove that Su Ming was the seal of the F-rank lord. What's the matter? Why are you still stunned when you see me? I haven't seen you for 2 days, isn't it strange? How have you been these 2 days? Miss me? When the two of them awakened the seal of the Lord at the same time, an inexplicable atmosphere rose between them. And in the next 7 days, the relationship between the two has heated up rapidly, and now the relationship is almost like a boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just that both sides have kept it in their hearts and haven't said it yet. After a long time, Ku Wanru finally spit out a word. But after this word, there is no text. Su Ming frowned with his head tilted and asked, what are you, and you? You don't really know each other, right? I've been thinking about you for the past 2 days. You're going to hurt me too much. Saying that, Su Ming also made a heartache and put his hands on his chest. No, No. Ku Wanru became anxious when she heard this, as if she was afraid that Su-ming would think of herself like this, so she hurriedly denied it. Then do you think you miss me? I have it. Ku Wanru is thin-skinned, and it is really hard for her to say things like Su-ming. So after Su-ming heard this, she no longer insisted. She was willing to admit that she had made great progress. I feel more comfortable when I hear what you said, and my heart doesn't hurt anymore. Su-ming straightened up, his face turned happy. Which, the heart is on the left. Ku Wanru looked at Su-ming and said something softly, then quickly lowered her head. It seems that this remark refutes Su-ming's face. Su-ming's expression was indeed instantly stiff. He wasn't really in pain, why did he think so much? Under the wrong circumstances, you actually covered the wrong place. Looking at Ku Wanru's appearance, I had to sigh in my heart that this girl was really sincere. Cough cough. Su-ming coughed awkwardly and changed the subject. Where are you now? I'm in Mochizuki Valley now, how about you? I'm on Shueyu Island. It's a coincidence. The place where we both landed has a moon character. Su-ming said and opened the map and searched for Mochizuki Valley nearby. Finally found one. Are you close to the Gerdea Desert? Su-ming asked confirmingly. Oh, let me see. Ku Wanru also opened the map. Well, there is really a Gerdea Desert, just a few kilometers behind my Mochizuki Valley. Ha ha ha, it seems that the mother-child beads given by Lu Rear Admiral are still useful. There is a big forest between us. Su-ming laughed. Just now he was afraid that this was just a place with the same name, but this time it was confirmed. You wait there, I'll find you in a few days. Su-ming instructed Ku Wanru. Ku Wanru responded softly like a little daughter-in-law. How's your geographic location? Can it be developed? Is there anything I need help with? I am very good in Mochizuki Valley. I have all the resources, and I don't need any help. Ku Wanru was afraid of causing trouble to Su-ming, so she waved her hand hastily. Then there was a look of doubt in his eyes, and he asked, It's you, aren't you the seal of an F-rank lord? How can it develop so fast, right? Su-ming expressed doubts for Ku Wanru. Ku Wanru nodded and said, Su-ming smiled and raised the seal of the lord on his hand to show Ku Wanru. What? Ku Wanru just glanced at it, then covered her mouth in surprise, looking at the mark on Su-ming's hand in disbelief. Bright red, dazzling red. Ku Wanru was speechless for a while in shock. Su-ming showed Ku Wanru over and over again in a coquettish manner, and the pride on his face was self-evident. A hippie smile said, How? Is it much prettier than yours? Ku Wan snorted softly. Hearing Su-ming's heart froze. In fact, Ku Wanru was shocked when she saw Su-ming holding the red mark, but she was delighted afterwards. Of course she knew what the Red Lord's seal represented, but it was a rare SSS class in 10 years. Means endless potential. As long as you grow up, returning to the real world will no longer be a dream. Before, she was worried that Su-ming would not reach level 60 in the end, but now it seems that there is no problem. Then what happened to your previous white mark? After a long time, Ku Wanru asked her own question. I don't know about this either. Maybe talent didn't exist at the time. I only woke up to talent after I entered the virtual world. Su-ming answered truthfully. Is there any more? Ku Wanru recalled the common sense knowledge points about this world in her mind, but in the end she couldn't find anything that could be confirmed, so she had to explain to herself, maybe this is the uniqueness of the SSS level. In myths and stories, there are fetishes that hide themselves, and it is not surprising that this SSS level talent has this characteristic. I have to say that Ku Wanru, an introverted soft girl, has a good way of explaining herself. Don't ask about the seal of Lord Su-ming anymore. Then Su-ming began to talk about gossip with Ku Wanru. This is said to be a few hours, talking about Bailing and calling Su-ming for dinner. Back at the Lord's mansion, Su-ming went to find Huang-san after eating. Now that Ku Wanru has been contacted, it is time to consider how the two will meet. As for what Ku Wanru said before to use the number of blessings on Su-ming, the two of them tacitly did not mention it. Because it is completely unnecessary. Old Huang, what kind of conditions do you need to cross this big forest? Su-ming looked at the forest between Shueyu Island and Mochizuki Valley and asked Huang-san. Huang-san pondered a little, and finally gave a safe answer. The main city needs to reach level 10. Shueyu Island is suspended in the water, and there are 3 ways to go to Mochizuki Valley. The first is to bypass the water directly, but this distance will be infinitely elongated, and the risk factor is too large. The second is to go ashore on the forest side first, and then pass through the forest, which not only shortens the distance, but also reduces the risk factor relatively. The third rule is to jump directly over the forest, which is the easiest and relatively safest. Therefore, Huang Sankai suggested that the main city should reach level 10. Because at that time, the Feather Eagle clan must be able to reach the 10th level. Then turn on the arms conversion function, and go directly to the Eagle Guard. In this way, there will be no problem when facing monsters above level 10 outside the territory. How long will it take to get to level 10? With the current progress, it will take 7 days. It's been too long. Is there any way to shorten it? Then we can only continue to recruit people. Are there still people on the island that can be recruited? Yes, we only discovered this yesterday. In the northwest of the island, there are many large and small underground caves, where goblins live. Huang-san had a look of embarrassment on his face and said, "It's just that there are high-level goblins in this goblin family, and it may not be easy to deal with. We didn't plan to provoke them for the time being." High level, how high? 10th level, and there are still intelligent 10th level creatures, which can't be compared with brainless monsters like Booze. Su Ming also pondered when he heard the words. After thinking for a few minutes, he suddenly asked, "How much help have those goblins recruited to me? It can triple our resource production. How many existences are there at the 10th level?" According to investigation, there is only one, the others are mostly 3rd level 4th level, and a minority of 5th level 6th level, and there is only one 10th level above. Huang-san replied quickly and clearly. Obviously, he also has ideas for this indigenous creature living on Shueyu Island. Done. Hearing the triple boost, Su Ming no longer hesitated. "I will personally negotiate with the goblin family about this matter. Since it is wise, I think it makes sense and won't narrow the road. You go to gather your staff now, and we'll set off in a while." It is good. It is rare to see Su Ming's energy, and Huang-san is also very happy. Coupled with the weapon he just got today, Huang-san's confidence in the bottom of his heart also increased. When negotiating, showing these things can also be a little more deterrent. In the end, if we can't talk, we can only fight. After all, forces that cannot be used by the territory should not survive within the territory. Half an hour later, all the combat force members assembled. There are 10 soldiers in total, and there are more than 20 savage beasts above the 4th level. Among the wild beasts, there are 3 wild elephants, and Big Ben is the strongest among them. There are 5 feather eagles, and Dapeng is the strongest. After that, most of them were ferocious beasts like tigers and wolves. Except for Chen Dabing, who was promoted to 6th level, all the soldiers were 5th level and wore leather armor. Although their previous silver armor was good-looking, it did not contain other attribute bonuses. All are now replaced with leather armor. The best leather armor is made of black maned pig royal skin, and Huang-san gave Su Ming a set. Pig King leather armor, bronze defense plus 200, toughness plus 20. Being able to create bronze-level equipment, the title of this high-level blacksmith is not a vain name. As for those javelins, they were all made of fine iron, and they were also forged with animal bones. Some animal bones are harder than refined iron, such as the Boulder Barbarian cattle bone. Also, the horns of the Boulder Bull were made into an elephant helmet, which increased the attack power of Big Ben. The rest of the available materials were also used by Huang-san. Now everyone is fully armed, even if it is a 10th level boost, it has the power to fight. Okay, let's go. With a wave of his hand, Su Ming jumped up and down, jumped onto the elephant saddle on Big Ben's back and sat down. Ang! Big Ben let out a long howl, and then started running. Huang-san was sitting on Dapeng's back and led the way. The other soldiers did not travel by themselves, they all chose suitable wild beasts to ride. A line of mighty drove towards the Goblin Cave. Northwest of Shueyu Island, Goblin's Cave. Patriarch, we have already detected them. Those people have only appeared on Shueyu Island in the last 2 days, and it is very likely that they came from the outside world. A goblin with a wrinkled face reported to another goblin who was also very old and held a crooked wooden staff. It can be known from their mouths that other lords have come to this place once, but now they are gone. Hey, it seems like a solution, otherwise the clansmen will all die if they suffer another toss. The goblin patriarch sighed, his eyes full of worry. Yeah, when we goblins occupied the entire Shueyu Island, and life was free, who would have thought that there would be people from outside? The wrinkled goblin also sighed with emotion. It's enough to use our goblin family to help him develop day and night, but later on, he even betrayed his promise and didn't take us out of Shueyu Island as agreed. So I see, Patriarch, why don't you take us to destroy this new force? They have only come to Shueyu Island not long ago, and they should be as weak as the previous one. The goblin suggested, but the goblin patriarch shook his head and said, You think too simple, Gru, have you forgotten the way that man deceived us before? Although he was deceiving us, the strange ability he showed was not so easy to deal with. Naglu didn't want to give up his own idea. But the patriarch, what if this person, like the one before, came to our clan to help him work again? Are we going to endure another torture? The man said it well at the beginning, saying that he only needs us to help him collect resources, and the others don't need to trouble us. But after he developed, he began to intensify, desperately extracting the labor force of our clansmen, and hundreds of thousands of clansmen died of exhaustion. Do you still want such a tragedy to repeat? Obviously, the lord who came to Shueyu Island before left a very bad impression on the goblin family. Coaxing, treachery, extracting labor power, etc. all indicate the despicable character of the person. But this is understandable to an outsider like Su Ming. After all, most of the people who come to this world have the intention of chasing fame and fortune, and there is absolutely no goodwill towards the natives. Even if it is killed, there is no need to worry about being punished. The patriarch was also at a loss for words, and did not know how to answer Nagru's question. In fact, it wasn't that the man left Shueyu Island with no goblins at all, but he only brought the backbone of level 6 to level 9. The patriarch is the strongest in the clan and cannot leave Shueyu Island. And that person did not force it out of management considerations. Now that several decades have passed, the goblin family has not recovered, but has begun to gradually retreat. As a result, the territory of Shueyu Island was occupied by other wild beasts. Before the wild beast changed, they discovered the abnormality, and then found the arrival of Su Ming and others during the investigation. The whole family began to be at a loss. Now, all the clansmen have gathered outside the patriarch's house, waiting for the patriarch to find a way to take them out of this catastrophe. But this Shueyu Island is so big, where can you hide? So they still have only two paths to go. One is resistance, victory can continue to survive on the island, and the result of defeat is one of perishment, and the other is to be captured as a prisoner and live in humiliation. The other is to believe in outsiders again, serve them, and pray for a chance of life. Although this method is suffocating, as long as it takes a few months, maybe it can be exchanged for more than 10 years of peace. Of course, there is another situation, that is, outsiders do not find their existence, so they can naturally escape. But this is very rare, because the goblins' range of movement is too large. There are still thousands of goblin tribesmen, divided into several small tribes scattered all over the place. Patriarch, you should make a decision quickly. Let us know whether to fight or hide, and we should prepare earlier. Seeing that the patriarch was silent for a long time, Nagru urged impatiently. Nagru, I plan to take the initiative to negotiate with the outsider this time. When the goblin patriarch said this, he seemed to have made a great determination. What, patriarch, are you crazy? Naglu looked at the patriarch in shock. Perhaps, but I thought about it very clearly. The patriarch paused and said, This time I will divide the clan into two parts, you and I will lead a part, and the one led by me will go to the outsiders to serve them in exchange for the safety of the part of the clan you led. The principals of the forces are not too stupid and will accept this condition. Patriarch, are you planning to split the clan? Let's split, it's better than exterminating the family. The patriarch also looked helpless. After the split, it is also easy for you to lead the clan to hide. The number of clan members is small, and it is not so easy to find. What about you? If this time the outsiders are more ferocious, wouldn't there be no return? Naglu thumped his hands and feet, trying to reverse the thoughts of the patriarch. For the continuation of the clan, this is also a necessary sacrifice. Facing this situation, the patriarch calmed down, and it's not necessarily hopeless. As long as the outsider is a little more friendly this time, we can complete the work he needs, and there is still hope to come back. Anyway, I don't believe that the outsider will have good intentions. Hey, this is also impossible. After all, thousands of clansmen are still too conspicuous on this Shueyu island. The patriarch sighed, and then, as if completely determined, said, let's arrange it like this. It just so happens that the clansmen are all outside at this time. I will tell you about this, and those who are willing to go with me will go to the foreign forces. But you can only lead up to 500 clansmen, you know. 500. Naglu's body trembled when he heard this number. Doesn't this mean that the other 600 or 700 clansmen have to go to foreign forces? The patriarch did not wait for Naglu to regain his senses again, and left first. When they came outside, the goblins gathered around the patriarch. After the patriarch said what he had discussed with Naglu just now, the goblins fell silent. After the silence, there was an uproar. Some shouted that they were unwilling to go to foreign forces, some scolded the patriarch for making decisions indiscriminately and did not deserve to be the patriarch, some were crying bitterly, some were clamoring to fight against foreign forces. The cave instantly turned into a pot of porridge. The patriarch just watched silently, and after they were almost noisy, the wooden staff placed a pestle on the ground, and a magic circle spread out immediately, and the goblins also quieted down. No matter what complaints you have, please put them down for the time being. This is about the survival of the ethnic group. Now is the time to make a decision. With that said, the patriarch called out Negru's name. Negru, you go to choose the clansmen to follow you first, giving priority to women and children, and also to a few young men to ensure the labor force. As for the others, those who are willing to go with me, stand here, and those who do not want to stay put and wait for Negru's choice. If you are selected and left behind, then it will be regarded as following me to foreign forces. Following the order of the goblin patriarch, the goblins started to make noise again. Quiet, the goblin patriarch shouted angrily, and a wave of magic swept across the audience again, and the goblins were quiet again. Seeing this, Naglu had no choice but to follow the order of the patriarch and start to pick his clansmen. Some of the torn-apart families burst into tears. The gloomy atmosphere began to infect all the goblins. Patriarch, I am willing to go to foreign forces with you. You can let my mother go with Elder Nagalu. A goblin man stood up and asked the patriarch for instructions. His mother immediately stepped forward and pulled him. What can you do? I'm already old, I've already lived enough, why do I waste my quota? Obviously, in their eyes, being able to follow Negru means survival, and following the patriarch means going to death. With the goblin man taking the lead, other men also looked at their own wives and children. His eyes were full of reluctance, but in the end he solemnly walked out and stood on the side of the patriarch. Since the number of places is limited, leave the hope of life to the wife and children, and they themselves will fight for the possibility of survival. Half an hour later, Naglu had picked out the 500 goblins who were following him. Of course, the data is not so accurate, and there will always be dozens of clansmen. Otherwise, they are all women and children, and it will be difficult to survive in the future. There were only more than 200 goblins standing on the side of the goblin patriarch, and the others were still unwilling to stand in place. What about you? The goblin patriarch asked in a deep voice. One of the goblins came out and responded, Patriarch, I apply to withdraw from the group. I also applied to withdraw from the group. Me too. Quote. After that, hundreds of goblins came out one after another. The goblin patriarch was trembling all over, but he was still well controlled by him. This scene still happened. His original intention was to exchange half of the goblins for the survival of the other half of the clan, so it was only divided into 2 parts. If it can come back smoothly after that, there is also the possibility of regrouping. But now these clansmen who jumped out to apply for separation are really divided. No matter what happens in the future, they will never come back. Do you know what this is doing? The goblin patriarch asked sharply. Patriarch, we don't want to die. The goblin who stood up first just now responded again. Since we can't follow the Elder Gru to get a chance to survive, it's better to go out on our own, the chance of survival is even greater. I don't believe that foreign forces will be friendly, so I also advise the Patriarch to think twice. This goblin doesn't look young, and is likely to be the survivor of the previous catastrophe. Most of the people who followed him were about the same age as him. But have you ever thought about it? I can only lead the clan to fight for Negalu and them, but I can't keep you safe. The Goblin Patriarch did not refute what the goblin said, but only reminded, in the future, you will be like other savages on the island, and you will be in danger all the time, and the foreign forces will not be polite to you, whether you are caught or killed. Soft-hearted. As soon as the Goblin Patriarch said these words, many of the hundreds of goblins who stood up suddenly became timid. Seeing this, the goblin who stood up first hurriedly said, "We are few in number, it is easy to hide or escape. As long as Ishan wants to hide, it is extremely difficult to find foreign forces. Therefore, I implore the Patriarch to allow him to let him go. We quit the clan." This goblin also has some ideas. The number of goblins who have left the group now means how many goblins follow their own. So he first spoke out to appease the goblins who were swaying a while ago, and then he stopped giving the Patriarch a chance to disintegrate them. If it wasn't for the powerful strength of the Goblin Patriarch, perhaps he would have inspired other clansmen. But how could the Goblin Patriarch have the heart to calculate these? He is also very helpless now, and he also understands these goblins who want to go out independently to survive. So, he didn't refuse. "Okay, I approve." At the same time, he also said very solemnly, "I, the 31st generation Patriarch Nadalu, announce that from now on, you are no longer my goblin family." The goblins who stood up were overjoyed when they heard this. But taking the words of the Goblin Patriarch made them cold all over. So in the future, don't appear in front of the clan, let alone approach the clan led by Negalu, otherwise, I will let Negalu issue an order to kill you. The Goblin Patriarch's wooden staff put a pestle on the ground, and a magic power that was several times stronger than before covered the group of goblins, with deterrence and warning. The intention of these words is obviously not wanting these goblins to implicate the selected clansmen. And since they chose to withdraw from the tribe, no matter what the reason, it was a betrayal, and naturally there was no need for the Goblin Patriarch to sacrifice for it. They will all face the challenge of survival in the future. If they can overcome it, they will form a new ethnic group. If they cannot, they will perish. The goblins rioted again, and were once again stopped by the leading goblins. But it still had an impact. When he finally left, only more than 50 goblins were willing to follow him. At this moment, a goblin suddenly appeared outside, running in a panic, and shouting at the same time. "Patriarch, Patriarch, if something goes bad, the foreign forces are attacking us with savage beasts." What? The Goblin Patriarch was also shocked. The other clansmen immediately boiled like boiling water. The goblin who took the lead in withdrawing from the group hurriedly organized the goblins who were willing to follow him and began to flee. As for his family, he had already left behind when he decided to withdraw. Their only thought now is to escape. "Negalu, hurry up and take your clan to pack up and prepare to go into seclusion, and the rest of you go out with me." After a brief shock, the Goblin Patriarch quickly made arrangements. The goblins who had already stood on Nadalu's side naturally obeyed without hesitation, but the other goblins who didn't move were still hesitating. What special treatment do you want?" Nadaru was no longer polite, and roared directly at those clansmen. It is about the life and death of the race, how can Nadaru not be angry? He himself has taken the lead, but only a few are willing to sacrifice for the continuation of the race, which also makes him very chilled. "What did I say before? If you are not selected, then go with me to foreign forces to seek a way out for other people. What are you trying to do now? Do you also want to leave the group? Anyone who wants to leave the group will stand up and I will be satisfied immediately." Terrifying other goblins who have left the group do not want to try, and they have already missed the first time. It is difficult to say whether they can integrate into those goblins if they go again. So these goblins could only sigh, and in the end helplessly followed Nadaru. Of course, this time, it was to meet the enemy, and those without combat power must not be brought along, otherwise it would add to the burden, so in the end, there were only nearly 400 goblins who followed Nadaru. The goblins picked up simple equipment and walked out of the underground cave under the leadership of Nadaru. When I came to the ground, I saw a cloud of sand billowing hundreds of meters away. The goblin patriarch stood at the front, holding a wooden staff in both hands, chanting words in his mouth, and a ball of light rose from the wooden staff. After standing still in the air, it quickly spread around, covering a range of nearly 200 meters. This is defensive magic, a natural barrier. Of course, the goblin patriarch could not do this alone, and he also used a special method to sway the defense formation of the clan. Of course, Huang-san was walking in the forefront. When he saw a magical barrier rising, he immediately reported to Su Ming. Only then did Su Ming slow down the team. Old Huang, go and say it, just say I want to talk to their patriarch. Take orders. Huang-san sat on the back of Dapeng and came directly to hover over the goblin group. Listen to the goblins below. Our lord has asked your patriarch to speak before the formation. If you don't want to increase casualties, consider it carefully before making a decision. Huang-san's voice passed through the barrier, allowing the goblins below to hear it clearly. What he said was also 3 points each. There is a polite meaning, but also a warning. After all, the original purpose is to recruit, so you can't be too arrogant, otherwise it will be troublesome if you can't communicate directly. After shouting 3 times in a row, Huang-san ordered Dapeng to return to the camp. How is the situation? Su Ming asked. Huang-san got off Dapeng. Kaido, there are only 300 or 400 goblins, with poor equipment, and the strength is the same as what we explored before. There is no existence of level 7 to 9. Of course, the purpose of Su Ming asking Huang-san to shout is not only communication, but also to investigate the enemy's situation. Otherwise, why would you send Huang-san there on purpose? If Su Ming's order can't be understood, then Huang-senke should be killed. What is the barrier in front of you? Is there a way to crack it? Su Ming asked again. Huang-san Kaido, this is a magical barrier. Let the soldiers throw the javelin together to attack one point, and it can be broken in 3 rounds. Su Ming nodded. Okay, now you take the 2 of you on a feathered eagle to monitor the sky to prevent the goblins from escaping. If they don't make a decision in 10 minutes, you will circle over them to force a demonstration, but don't do it. If it still doesn't work, then I will carry out 2 rounds of attacks and make the final announcement. Do you understand? Huang-san nodded in response. Understood. Afterwards, he was ordered to take the 2 off into the air. The goblin on the opposite side was in a panic. They originally thought that there would only be dozens of people in this foreign force, but now, even the wild beasts have been brought by them. The wild beast obeyed their orders, which surprised Nadalu. At the same time, worries began to arise in my heart. If we really can't talk, or if the other party's appetite is too big, can the 500 clansmen really be able to hide it? After all, as long as you use the wild beast to help you find it, it is completely easy. Sonataru was a little hesitant at this time. Want to fight? The other party came too fast, and the group did not have time to prepare, and now they are all in tattered equipment. Want to talk? There are too many worries here, and the other side has the confidence and strength to turn his face and ignore the person, so he can't get a bargain at all. So after thinking about it, Nadaru felt very embarrassed. Time passed unknowingly, and the clansmen had already turned upside down. But still did not wait for the patriarch's instructions. At this time, 3 feathered eagles came to hover over them. The goblin group suddenly became silent, and looked at the sky in unison, as if they were worried that the other party would launch an attack now. Nadaru also saw this scene, but he quickly saw the meaning. Is this a warning? Because One is hesitant, the other side doesn't want to give us too much time, is it because we are afraid of running away? Nadaru's heart seemed to be immersed in the bottom of the sea, and it was cold. The other party's mind is so delicate, it will not be too simple to think about, this time may only choose to negotiate. After making up his mind, Nadaru suddenly slapped his chest and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Patriarch, patriarch, the goblins who got close were startled, not knowing what Nadaru was doing. Nadaru raised his hand to stop them from advancing. Then, without looking back, he began to chant a spell, placing his wooden staff on top of the blood he spat out. Another 10 minutes later, boom, the magic barrier suddenly roared, as if it had been hit hard, and ripples swayed. Boom! Another roar sounded. The magic barrier is visibly weakened. The goblins panic again. It was at this moment that Nataru finished chanting the spell. Blood curse, life connection. The blood under the wooden staff suddenly floated up along the wooden staff, and finally lifted into the sky and turned into a mist of blood, contaminating everyone in the tribe. Most of the clansmen did not understand what it was, and only a few old-faced goblins saw it. In the end they all sighed. It was at this moment that Nataru suddenly became full of breath. Reach out to a goblin and ask him to shout that we are willing to negotiate. Huang-san brought the news to Su-ming and got off the back of Big Ben. The guards of Chen Dabbing and others came down to the barrier. The barrier disappeared as he expected. A few minutes later, Nataru came to Su-ming. Huang-san stood by Su-ming's side, ready to guard. With his previous experience, he is now somewhat distrustful of saving danger on Su-ming talent. After all, this thing can't be seen or touched. What if another one comes out of the territory? It stands to reason that Su-ming's assigned territory is this Shuiyu Island. As long as it is on the island, the previous situation will not occur again. But Huang-san still felt that he would feel more at ease by being on guard himself. Regarding the reactions of the people around Su-ming, Nataru didn't say much after seeing it. Now they are weak, but because he is a 10th level, he will be guarded, which is normal. Nataru stepped forward with the help of a goblin and bowed respectfully. Dear Lord, I know your purpose. Nataru went straight to the topic. We are willing to serve you, but I hope you can promise us a few conditions. As soon as these words came out, it was Su-ming and others that were unnatural. What's the situation? Are farming tribes so influential? You shouldn't have known the intention directly. Nataru has experienced the incident of the foreign lord before, and he is no stranger to the appearance of Su-ming and others. But Su-ming and others have no such experience. Even Huang-san was a little surprised at this time. He is familiar with the information of this world, but does not include the stories that happened in small places like Shuiyu Island. So he, like Su-ming, is a little confused. However, he is very adaptable, and even if he does not know the meaning of Taru's words, he can respond immediately. Have you not yet recognized your current situation? Are you qualified to negotiate conditions? Now that you see that the other party intends to surrender, then the next step is to discuss the treatment. Huang-san sang his face without hesitation. After all, it is inappropriate to let Su-ming come. Nataru seemed to have expected this kind of reaction from Huang-san, and he responded in no hurry. Your words are not good. Since we are now voluntarily serving the Lord, we should give some preferential treatment to your forces. In this way, it will not tarnish the reputation of the Lord, and it will be much easier to recruit other ethnic groups in the future. Huang-san's face turned cold. What? Don't you have a good reputation around here? If you don't treat you well, will it affect the reputation of adults? What if we insist that we disagree with your request? Nataru's face changed when he saw this, but he didn't expect that the other party would not eat this set. And he directly dismantled the trick he played. Their goblin family is indeed not well known nearby, because they are weak and unable to communicate with the outside world, so even if they are exterminated, it will not cause any waves. Abusing and squeezing them will not affect other ethnic groups' views of Su-ming's power. Maybe even admire its strength. In fact, he said this just to increase the weight of the goblin family, so as to pave the way for the later conditions. But now, looking at Huang-san's wise eyes, many thoughts in Taru's heart sink directly to the bottom. I know it won't work if I use it, but it's annoying. So Nataru directly threw his whole cards. The Lord is an outsider. He came to my goblin family. I think he is also interested in the ability of the goblin family to mine stone and iron ore, right? Although we intend to surrender, if the Lord does not agree with our conditions, then the Lord will not let us be adults. Effectiveness. I know that the Lord can be persecuted by tough means, so just now, I have used the blood curse. As long as the Lord refuses the request, then I will let all the goblins die, and the Lord will no longer be able to get help. Hearing this, Su-ming couldn't help but look sideways. He really didn't understand why the goblins were so wary of him, and now he was so tough to make a request. Can't we just say the request first and then discuss it later? At the same time, he still had some doubts, looked at Huang-san and asked, what is a blood curse? Huang-san replied softly, "My lord, the blood curse is a kind of curse between bloodlines." Listening to the meaning of the goblin patriarch, he seems to be able to control the lives of all goblins now, all of which are likely to be life connections or lives in the blood curse. Control. The former is more likely. After all, the life control behind is a high-rank spell. Why would he do this? I don't know that either. Maybe there's something in it that we don't know. Su Ming nodded. Looking at Nadaru, he said, "Tell me about your conditions first." Nadaru was overjoyed when he heard the words, and secretly thought that his plan was still somewhat effective. Facing Su Ming, he bowed again and said, "We have 3 requirements. The first is that only our clansmen will serve the adults, and the adults can no longer recruit our other clansmen. The second is that we want to be treated fairly, and we don't ask for rewards. We just want to be able to eat and live while giving me enough time to rest. The third is that we only serve the adults for 3 months, and after 3 months, I hope the adults will set us free." These 3 conditions can be said to be simple enough. Compared with the benefits brought by goblins, as long as it is a normal person, it will agree. And among them, the third condition was that Taru didn't even hope that the other party would agree, it was for the other party to bargain. Huang San did have a plan to bargain, but was stopped by Su Ming. "Okay, I agree to all your conditions, and you will report to my territory later." Huang San was a little puzzled, but saw Su Ming shaking his head at him. Su Ming didn't want to talk too much. He could reach the 10th level in a few days, and then he would naturally get other help, so he didn't need to rely too much on the goblin family. Secondly, the request made by the goblin patriarch was really too simple in Su Ming's view. At first, he thought it was outrageous, but he didn't expect that he was just eating, sleeping, and not paying. And not to recruit more goblins. Come on, you 300 or 400 goblins are enough. Let Huang San gossip again, isn't this the same as losing face? A goblin with a short stature and a small belly can still eat Su Ming poor. So Su Ming agreed generously. And this time, it was Nadaru's turn to be surprised. That look seems to be saying, "Is it so simple to agree?" Worried that Su Ming was deceiving, Nadaru immediately proposed again, "I hope your lord can make a contract." "Okay, I'll make a contract for you." Su Ming waved his hand and gestured to Huang San. "At first I thought it would be fun to recruit goblins, but I didn't expect it to be like going through the motions." Nadaru was surprised again. Nadalu would have such a request and response, and it was thanks to the previous lord. It was because the lord had too much influence on them and was too impressed. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is unforgettable. The goblin family is not a race that is brave and good at fighting, and most of them are very simple. But it happened to be treated like the previous lord. It's like a woman from a good family who meets a scumbag, and ends up being played with her feelings, defrauding her for money, and finally being cruelly abandoned. So Nadaru didn't have much intention of resisting from the beginning, and just wanted to pray for some basic things. This time the two met. I don't know if it was Su Ming's luck or the luck of their goblins. Negotiations went well, which would have been a pleasure. But now, the principals on both sides are not happy. Nadaru felt that the smoothness was too much, and he felt a little uneasy in his heart. On the other hand, Su Ming felt that the development of things was too simple and boring. It's as if this time I came here for nothing. End of contract signing. Nadaru read it over and over again, and he breathed a sigh of relief after confirming that there was no problem. Contracts are very serious in this world, and even foreign lords cannot offend. Seeing that the matter is over, Su Ming intends to go home. But at this moment, a warning sound suddenly sounded. Ding! You found the 10th level boost, the Shadow Spider King, please pay attention to the manpower support. This prompt was quite abrupt, and Su Ming was a little stunned for a while. Unexpectedly, Huang San and others searched for the boost for a day yesterday, and they appeared in front of them today. And they also happened to be fully armed, and they did not waste the slightest strength to recruit goblins. Now you don't need to rest, you can hunt directly. And 500 meters behind them, a purple beam rose, and a huge spider appeared. The movement was not small, and soon everyone discovered the Shadow Spider King. The goblin family immediately began to flee in a panic and returned to the ground. It's the Shadow Spider King, a 10th level creature, very difficult to deal with. Nadalu thought that Su Ming and others did not know about it, so he reminded him. Obviously, their goblins are no strangers to the Shadow Spider King, or they have been poisoned by the Shadow Spider King, otherwise they would not have reacted this way. Su Ming turned to look at Nadaru, but there was no sign of appreciation in his eyes. Just ordered. Now, take your clan back, pack up and report to the territory. I have already measured the number visually. I hope I will treat you sincerely, and you will not disappoint me. Nadaru's heart trembled when Su Ming looked at him, and he said he didn't dare. At the same time, he returned with the help of his clan. He knew what Su Ming meant when he asked him to go back. One of them was what he said, to pack up, go to the territory later, and then work and live in the territory. The second reason was Nadalu himself, because Su Ming and others wanted to hunt down the Spider King, but they were worried that a level 10 character who had just joined would stay here, fearing that things might change, so they had to leave Nadalu. As for borrowing Nadalu's power, Su Ming didn't think about it. Not to mention that Nadaru still retains some strength. Once Nadaru betrays, it is at the critical juncture of their battle with the Spider King, the disaster will be huge. So Su Ming would rather not have this help than add unnecessary danger. The Goblin Patriarch retreated quickly. Old Huang, you are here with a feathered eagle and a few fast-running beasts to monitor the movements of the goblins, and send me a message if there is any abnormality. Su Ming looked at Huang-san and ordered. Huang-san also smiled knowingly when he saw that Booze was the queen of shadow spiders. He bowed his head and cupped his hands in response. Let me take orders. Chen Dabbing, you ride a feathered eagle and lead the Shadow Spider King to another place first, and we will come later. Yes. Without any hesitation, Chen Dabbing jumped onto Yu Ying's back and soared into the sky. Controlling the height of Feather Eagle's flight, attracting the Shadow Spider King to start moving. Set off. Ang. Wow. Su Ming jumped on Big Ben's back, and Big Ben let out a long howl. Not to be outdone, Dapeng led the way after a long cry. The preparations for hunting Booze have been done, and the next step is the happy hunting session. Soon Su Ming and others came to a huge open space. Ahead, the Shadow Spider King was furious at the feathered eagle hovering in the air. Whenever it wanted to leave, Chen Dabbing would shoot a javelin, hitting the Spider King. Then ran into the air and circled. The Spider King angrily spit out the silk to attack, but because the distance was not enough, the spider silk could not directly touch Chen Dabbing and Yu Ying. At this moment, the scarlet eyes of the Shadow Spider King suddenly glowed red. This is the control skill of the Shadow Spider King. The dark spider stares, making the enemy's movements stiff and slow. Creature. Lord Boo's Shadow Spider King. Level 10. HP. 50,000. Vigor. 20,000. Stamina. 5,000. Attack power. 1,000. Defense power. 1,000. Magic value. 3,000. Speed. 500. Skill. Venomous Spider Web. The Spider King sprayed by the Shadow Spider King, with a strong poison, causing 200 points of magic damage, 300 points of continuous poison damage, lasting 10 seconds. Neurotoxin. The venom sprayed by the Shadow Spider King is highly poisonous, causing 500 points of poison damage, causing negative effects to speed -100, defense -200. Nether Spider Gaze from the Shadow Spider King, causing negative effect speed -300, defense -100. Curse of the Spider King. Life Sacrifice, dealing 70% HP damage to the enemy, and losing the same HP. Spider King. Boo's exclusive passive, all attributes plus 30%, curse effect plus 30%. The Shadow Spider King has 5 skills, only one more than the previous level 5 Boulder Bull. But its data and skill effects are gorgeous. Tens of thousands of blood, 3,000 magic points. There are also curse skills, and with the exclusive passive, it is an instant killer move. But to talk about the shortcomings, there are also, that is, the crispy skin. The attack power and defense power of the Shadow Spider King are only the ordinary level of 10th level, which can be said to be brittle and cannot be more brittle. Of course, that's what gave Su Ming and others more opportunities. As far as Chen Dabbing's data is concerned, his blood volume has reached 3,600. Level 6, the blood volume is 3,600, which is completely blood cattle level. The basic attack power also reached 1,200, and with weapons, breaking the defense of the Shadow Spider King is not a problem at all. The speed is also 600, which is faster than that of the Shadow Spider King. It is difficult for the Spider King to touch the charge skill. After seeing the data of the Shadow Spider King, Su Ming analyzed it a little and made a plan in his heart. Let 10 soldiers go first, and the wild beasts surround them to block other escape routes. Everyone is ready. Su Ming raised his hand and shouted. The 9 soldiers were divided into 2 teams, and they flanked around the Shadow Spider King. After finding the location, Su Ming gave the order. Open the brush. The 9 soldiers were suddenly full of vigor, their skills were fully activated, and they launched a charge. Kill. The cry of killing alarmed the Shadow Spider King, gave up the target in the air, and also began to scream and slaughter towards the soldiers. When Chen dabbing in the sky saw this, he immediately commanded Yuying to dive. When he reached the top of the Shadow Spider King's head, he held the spear in both hands and jumped down from the back of Feather Eagle. The whole body is also filled with red fighting spirit, and the fearless skill is activated. Kill. PFF'd. The long spear thrust entered the Spider King's back, and a jet of dark green blood spurted out, covering Chen dabbing's face. Hey! The Shadow Spider King howled in pain, his voice sharp and piercing. He shook his body violently, trying to throw Chen dabbing off his back. Chen dabbing firmly grasped the spear, and at the same time encouraged the spear to be sent in, and finally succeeded in causing the bleeding effect. Hey! The Shadow Spider King suddenly turned dark red, and the Spider King's curse skill was activated. Su Ming, who was watching the game from a distance, was also nervous when he saw this scene. This curse skill is an instant kill skill. Once it takes effect, the consequences are unpredictable. Ding! Your soldier Chen dabbing is cursed. Ding! Destiny effect is activated, curse effect is invalid. Call. Hearing this sound, Su Ming breathed a sigh of relief and was in a good mood. And when he looked at the Shadow Spider King, he suddenly found another unexpected joy. The Shadow Spider King's blood volume disappeared out of thin air by more than 3,000 points. What? And this effect? Su Ming's shocked whole person couldn't help leaning forward. Overjoyed, shouting to Chen dabbing, "Dabbing! Keep it like this, don't come down." Originally, he thought that it would take a long time to brush this Shadow Spider King, after all, tens of thousands of blood were there. I didn't expect such a miracle. In this way, the brushing will be much faster, and after a few more attempts, maybe the Shadow Spider King will be killed by his own skills. Chen dabbing is focusing on how to deal with the Shadow Spider King. After all, he can't see the blood bar, and he also doesn't know that he has been cursed. Just seeing the Shadow Spider King's body turning dark red, he was vigilant. I wanted to jump off intentionally, but I saw that no harm was done, and there was another burst of surprise in my heart. At this moment, Su Ming's voice just came. Chen dabbing chose to obey the order without hesitation, and his hands clenched the spear harder. At this time, the other 9 arrived and began to besiege. The Shadow Spider King was surrounded by enemies on all sides, and his 8 long legs kicked and stomped in a panic. At the same time, the mouth venom and the tail cobweb spray. The 9 soldiers are all senior soldiers, and their combat experience seems to be innate. Facing such a scene, they do not panic at all, and dexterously avoid it. Moreover, several people's exploits are very methodical. The enemy advances and we retreat, and the enemy retreats and we advance. A group of 2, taking turns entwining. And the Shadow Spider King has Chen dabbing on his back. Chen dabbing saw that the Shadow Spider King was dealing with other people, and he was not idle. Finding the opportunity, he ran to another place and gave the Shadow Spider King a big hole. Hey! The Spider King was angry, and his whole body turned dark red again. Its intelligence is not high, and all actions are based on instinct. I don't know why the own skill has no effect, and I don't know that the own behavior is self-harm. It just wants to obliterate Chen dabbing now. But after one experience, Chen dabbing no longer has any worries. In the distance, Su Ming saw that the Shadow Spider King used the Spider King curse again, and his heart was overjoyed. He clapped his hands quickly and said, "Okay, okay, this is okay, come here a few more times." The Shadow Spider King is not surprised, and his blood volume is 1 less. If the current progress is continued, it is estimated that the Shadow Spider King can be killed in less than 2 hours. But wanting to leapfrog and kill level 10 boosts is obviously not that simple. An hour later, the Shadow Spider King's blood volume was reduced by half. At this time, the strength and endurance of the soldiers began to show up. This situation was also expected. The Shadow Spider King's vigor is as high as 20,000, and his stamina is also 3,000, which cannot be exhausted by the soldiers at all. Everyone uses the potion to restore their state 20 meters from the back, and at the same time, the long-range weapons are consumed, and the wild beasts come forward to fight. Su Ming jumped off Dabin's back after shouting, "Ang!" Big Ben raised his nose, let out a long whistle, and began to charge at the Shadow Spider King. Big Ben also followed Huang-san and others to look for boosters yesterday, and he successfully leveled up when he hunted other creatures, reaching level 5. In addition to getting a little resource, the blood volume also has 2,000. With this amount of blood, he could only withstand 4 poisonous skill attacks from the Shadow Spider King, but that would have to be released by the Shadow Spider King. The Shadow Spider King's mana was almost exhausted at this time. Every time it uses the curse of the Spider King, it needs to consume a lot of mana, plus other skills. Naturally there is not much left in an hour. Although Dabin has low HP, his defense is very high. This is the racial talent that many savage beasts have. Racial talent made Big Ben's defense reach 1,000 points, and the Shadow Spider King could only barely break the defense. This is also the reason why Su Ming chooses to fight with wild beasts. There is also an elephant helmet on the big stupid head. As long as a pair of huge horns hit the Shadow Spider King, it can directly cause hundreds of points of damage to him. Dapeng also attacked the Shadow Spider King not to be outdone after receiving Su Ming's order. Its claws are its best weapon. When the Shadow Spider King saw the wild beast attack, it happened that the magic value was restored to the point where he could release a neurotoxin, which was also used directly. Some wild beasts do not have the speed of soldiers and cannot escape. 500 points of damage, 2 wild beasts were killed directly, and the others were severely disabled. Ding! Force member Shuiyu Howling Moon Wolf suffers negative effects. Ding! Destiny effect is activated, negative effects are invalid. The deceleration effect and defense reduction effect were invalid, and the Howling Moon Wolf evaded in time when the Shadow Spider King stepped down. Escaped. Another half hour later, Death's wild beasts reached 7, and most of the rest were wounded. At this time, Su Ming asked the soldiers to come forward and rotate again, and after another hour, the Shadow Spider King's HP was consumed to just over 3,000 points left. When the health of boos drops below 10%, most of them will go berserk, and the Shadow Spider King is not surprised. The Shadow Spider King exuded a faint red arrogance, and began to slaughter regardless of defense. The soldiers used the distance consumption again, and the Shadow Spider King's blood volume continued to decline. Several more savages were killed. The Shadow Spider King rammed around, making a final struggle to the death. Suddenly, the Shadow Spider King broke through the encirclement from a gap. The soldiers were startled, because that direction is exactly where Su Ming is. Su Ming's Shadow Spider Dynasty rushed over from his own side, and was also very puzzled. Doesn't it mean that my luck is increasing day by day? But why do I feel so unlucky? Without further ado, just run away. But how could his poor movement speed outrun the Shadow Spider King? Other soldiers wanted to come forward to stop them, but they were powerless because their strength and stamina were once again in a hurry. Chen Dabing, who was on the back of the Shadow Spider King, was also thrown off due to exhaustion just now, and is now chasing after him desperately. Dapeng fluttered his wings and rushed towards the Shadow Spider King, but only left 2 bloodstains on the Shadow Spider King, reducing the blood volume again. When it tried to save Su Ming after one blow, Su Ming and the Shadow Spider King were already close at hand. At this time, the Shadow Spider King just wanted to run away, and any living thing in front of it was an enemy and had to be killed. So when catching up with Su Ming, it stepped down without hesitation. If this foot hits, Su Ming will be gone. At this moment, a prompt sound suddenly sounded in Su Ming's ear. Ding! Destiny Effect 2 activates. Before Su Ming could react, he suddenly felt his body crooked, as if he had stepped in the air, and fell directly to one side. The Shadow Spider King stepped down and stepped on the position where he was standing just now. Only half a meter away from his toes. Su Ming's heart went directly to his throat, and before he could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw another foot stepped on behind him. How many legs of his meow are here? Su Ming widened his eyes and cursed inwardly. Looking at the approaching spider legs, Su-ming suddenly became very quiet. Ding! Destiny Effect 2 activates. Sure enough, the beep sounded again. Then, in the eyes of Su-ming, the huge Shadow Spider King's blood volume was suddenly emptied, and it exploded directly in the air, scattered into a pile of equipment and materials. It was only after this inspection that the Shadow Spider King, whose mana had been emptied, actually released another Spider King curse at the end. And it was released against Su-ming. Ding! You are cursed. Ding! Destiny Effect is activated, curse effect is invalid. The Shadow Spider King's blood volume of less than 1,000 is directly cleared. Su-ming lost his mind for a moment. Soon, Chen Dabing ran over. Shout out, "My lord! Are you all right?" Su-ming was terrified. Seeing that it was Chen Dabing, he shook his hand, indicating that he was fine. He stood up and patted the dirt on his body. In the fall just now, he didn't even break his skin, which is very strange. Although he looked embarrassed when he escaped just now, he was not slow. How could he not break his skin? Moreover, how did the Shadow Spider King release the curse of the Spider King when his mana was exhausted? These two things can only be attributed to the destiny effect that was prompted twice just now. After figuring it out, Su-ming comforted the little heart that jumped, and there was an undisguised look of joy on his face. This can be regarded as the end of the previous knot of distress in the water. It seems that there is no problem with the description of the destiny skill, everything is just a scope. Now that the Shadow Spider King was successfully hunted, Su-ming also received a prompt tone again, and there were still dozens of them. Ding! Your soldier Chen Dabing participated in killing the Shadow Spider King, successfully upgraded, the current level is 7, and the attributes have increased. Ding! Your soldier Sun Dabao participated in killing the Shadow Spider King, successfully upgraded, the current level is 6, and the attributes have been improved. Soldiers and wild beasts, as long as they are still alive, are all successfully upgraded. Their injuries have also been greatly recovered. Okay, you all did a good job, I will give you credit, and I will definitely reward you when I go back. Seeing the soldiers chasing after him, Su-ming was also quite proud. When the soldiers saw that Su-ming was fine, they all breathed a sigh of relief. Go forward without exception. Su-ming waved his hand in response. After hearing the words, the soldiers showed smiles one after another. Su-ming turned his head and looked at what the Shadow Spider King exploded on the ground. Ding! Successfully killed the Shadow Spider King, congratulations on getting the equipment. Shadow Staff 1, Shadow Magical Robe 1, Shadow Necklace 1, Shadow Gloves 2, Shadow Boots 2. Shadow Staff Silver Magic Attack plus 500, Magic Casting Time minus 20%. Shadow Magical Robe Silver Intelligence plus 50, Tenacity plus 50, Defense plus 100. Shadow Necklace Silver Intellect plus 70, Mental Energy plus 30. Shadow Gloves Silver Intelligence plus 30, Defense plus 50. Shadow Boots Silver Intelligence plus 30, Speed plus 50. Shadow Suit Magic Attack plus 100, Tenacity plus 30, Defense plus 50, Magic Casting Time minus 5%. Mage Suit. Su-ming looked at the introduction and secretly said that it was a pity. But there is no way, this Shadow Spider King is obviously biased towards the output of magic, which makes the equipment of the explosive warrior weird. Introduce the intelligence, toughness, and mental energy mentioned above. These are all basic attributes, but they will only be called after you change jobs. For example, this toughness, before the 10th level, is included in the stamina and defense power, and the effect is anti-crit damage. And these equipments, like the previous Boulder Bull set, have level restrictions, and can only be used after level 10. There is no mages under my hands yet. I hope they can be recruited after the 10th level opens the class transfer. Su-ming reluctantly put away the equipment. Look at the others. Ding! Successfully killed the Domain Boo's Shadow Spider King, congratulations on getting the item, Instance Creation Order. Su-ming picked up a delicate token with bronze patterns on one side and white and silver patterns on the other. Duplicate Generation Order. 2 types of duplicates can be opened. 1. Simple, level 5 copy, Boo's Boulder Barbarian Bull, Boo's Bloodfang Baron Lion, Boo's Withered Bone Moon Wolf. 2. Difficult, level 10 copy, Boo's Shadow Spider King, Boo's Snow Silver White Tiger, Boo's Nether Shadow Panther. Simple dungeon boosts correspond to defense, attack, and speed suits. Su Ming saw the peculiarity of this copy at a glance. The difficult dungeon should refer to the mages, warriors and assassins after the transfer. After all, these 3 occupations are the most basic occupations. In this way, I'm quite lucky. I've encountered the easiest boos to deal with, and I'm not as unlucky as I imagined. There is also a note behind the dungeon generation order. The cooling time after use is 1 day, and it is exclusive to Su Ming, the lord of the farming tribe. Seeing this information, Su Ming immediately wanted to open it, let the soldiers enter the dungeon and brush the boosts again, and burst out the equipment. But when he turned his head and saw that everyone was sitting on the ground chatting and resting, he put out this thought. They are already so tired, let them relax. Anyway, the generation order is in hand, and they can get their equipment together sooner or later. The copy generation order is also collected. Ding! Successfully killed the Shadow Spider King. Congratulations on getting Spider King Venom 50, Spider King Spider Web 50, Spider King Venom 10, Spider King Leg Bones 8, Spider King Back Spine 1, Magic Crystal 500. Destiny Talent Feature 2 is activated, resources plus 1000%. Congratulations on getting Spider King Venom 500, Spider King Spider Web 500, Spider King Venom 100, Spider King Leg Bones 80, Spider King Spine 10, Magic Crystal 5000. Destiny Talent Feature 2 is activated, explosion rate plus 1000%. Congratulations on obtaining the Mage Skill Book, Venomous Spider Web 1, Mental Toxin 1, Nether Spider Gaze 1, Exchange Curse 1. Destiny Talent Feature 2 is activated, explosion rate plus 1000%. Congratulations on getting a rare item, Cursed Dice. Ding! You successfully kill the territory boos, get the title, Booze Hunter upgradable, attack power plus 10%, reputation plus 1000. Ding! Reputation reaches 1000, get, Little Famous, achievement, Force Deterrence plus 50. Ding! You become the first player of this new faction to kill the boss of the territory within 5 days and get the hidden achievement, Dictator of the Territory, so the resource output plus 50%, the attributes of all faction members plus 10%, and the loyalty of all faction members plus 50. In the skill book, except that the name of the Spider King's curse has become a blood exchange curse, and the effect has become 60%, everything else is exactly the same. Su Ming was a little stunned when he saw these prompts. There are so many rare rewards that exploded at one time. First, the skill book is not mentioned, and it is a rare item, a title, and a hidden achievement. All of a sudden it can't be fixed for Su Ming. There are also resource bonuses, and the rewards are really good. The other things were put away, but the rare item was held by Su Ming, and he was obviously more interested in this thing. Cursed Dice. Every time you use a curse skill, you can roll a dice to get the curse effect bonus of up points *10%. This thing is very interesting, but I don't know if I will have a chance to use it in the future. Strengthen the curse effect. If I can learn the blood exchange curse, wouldn't I have an invincible skill in the future? Anyway, I'm not affected by negative effects. When a curse is used, it's all blood loss from the opponent. Can the Lord change jobs? That's a question. Looks like I have to go back and ask Lao Huang. Great harvest. Su Ming is in a great mood. Commanding the soldiers and wild beasts began to return to the city. Back in the territory, Huang San was already organizing the goblins to build a residence. Su Ming and the others fought with the Shadow Spider King for nearly 3 hours, and Huang San would definitely not choose to wait, so he returned early with the goblins. Seeing that Huang San was busy, Su Ming didn't want to disturb for a while, and greeted the soldiers to disband and rest, and then distributed rewards in the evening. Go back to the Lord's mansion and directly open the panel to upgrade the territory. Ding! The main city has been upgraded successfully. This upgrade consumes stone 60,000, wood 8,000, iron ore 4,000, refined iron 200. Ding! Congratulations to player Su Ming for successfully upgrading the main city to 4th level, the power value plus 1500, and the upper limit of the territorial building level. Ding! Player Su Ming's level has been raised to level 4, and his attributes have been improved. Ding! The territory has been expanded to 400 meters outside Shuiyu Island. Resources required for the next upgrade. Stone 100000, wood 15,000, iron ore 8,000, refined iron 500. Ding. The power value has successfully broken through 10,000, and the reputation plus 50. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.